Okay, looks like there's nobody in the stream right. Well, no, it looks like we got one viewer in the stream right now, which I know. I'm sorry, this is a little late. I usually stream like an hour earlier, but yeah, we don't really have anybody in stream right now. I'm thinking maybe I should give it a few more minutes before we start. So let me find another little jaunty tune that I can put on that's like Christmas related. Let me think. Oh, I know. Give me a second. I'm gonna look up. Um, let's see. Try to see if I can find it. Okay. Christmas. Okay. I think this might be it. I'll be right back. Just give me a second. You know what? On second thought, we've been going for like about. I see Goodly Draws in chat saying, "Who the frick is this?" You'll find out soon enough, Mr. Draws. Anyway, I think we waited for long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and cue that little intro thingy. Okay, welcome everybody. Let me make sure. Okay, I'll turn this on. And Brady, if you would like to say hello, we're live.
What is good,
There we
bitches
go.
and bros and non-binary hoes?
All right. Oh, and wow, that music is way too loud. I gotta turn that down just a little bit so I can hear myself. There we go. Okay. So, welcome everybody to Friday Nights of Film Nerd number 70. Figured I'd try to squeeze in one more stream before the end of the year. So, today I decided to talk about the worst movies of all time, or at least what the internet considers to be the worst movies of all time. So, Brady, you're a bit of a cinephile. Whenever someone comes up to you and says, "Oh my God, this is the worst movie I've ever seen," do you generally agree with them, or are you just like, "Man, you haven't seen enough movies"?
Oh, no, never. It's always like, oh man, it's the worst fucking piece of shit I ever seen. And it always feels like they've seen maybe like 12 movies ever. They're like, what they consider is bad. Like, I've seen films that can barely be considered motion pictures, and they're like, not even close.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Like, I remember years ago when Suicide Squad came out, the 2016 movie. I remember my sister was like, "Oh my God, this movie was so awful. I hated it," and I was like, I mean, at the time I was like, it's not that. I don't think it's that bad. And then years later, I rewatched and I'm like, "Oh wow, this is way worse than I thought." But even still, I have seen far worse than this. Like, especially in more recent years. Like, I would much rather watch Suicide Squad 2016 over like It's Pat ever again. Like, It's Pat for me is like one of the all time. That is one of the all time worst movies ever, in my opinion. Have you have you ever unfortunately sat through It's Pat?
I most certainly have. And you're right, 2016 Squad is way better than that.
Yeah, like, I mean, God, like, I think It's Pat is like shorter than Suicide Squad, but it feels so much longer than it really is. Like, just from how, like, there's only so few ways that that a comedy can fail as spectacularly as It's Pat does, because that movie is like shockingly not funny. Anyway, so I found, so while perusing the internet looking for lists of like what are considered the worst movies ever, I found this interesting list from Collider.com, which I believe I've shown before on stream, of what they consider to be the worst movies of all time. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun for the two of us to go through this list and see if these really are legitimately the worst movies ever. So let me first go into Discord. I'm going to share my screen with you just real quick. Let's see. Let me know. Let me know when you can see my screen.
There, now I can.
Okay, cool. So let me switch back here. Go to Zoom. Okay, so the first movie on the list at number 30 is Fateful Findings, which already I'd say this list is off to a pretty good start because, I mean, what can really be said about the work of Neil Breen that hasn't already been said? It's quite something.
Most certainly the greatest director of our time. This guy in front of obvious green screen and like some microphones he got out of like a bargain bin.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. But no, like...
No, that's way too much energy. He's like, I can't believe you.
Yeah. Let's see what Collider has to say. Undeniably, Neil Breen is an auteur filmmaker, but that doesn't mean his movies are good in the traditional sense. What's important is that they are all distinctly his own, because nothing else out there comes close to hitting the same way something like Fateful Findings does. Well, maybe Megalopolis scratches a similar itch, though on a bigger scale, and with a bit less entertainment value, to be honest. To try and coherently summarize a movie like Fateful Findings narratively is almost an exercise in futility. There's a man with unusual powers, he's caught up in a love triangle, and he eventually wants to overthrow the corrupt forces he claims are controlling the world. It tries to do everything while having some of the funniest line deliveries and performances you'll ever see. Whether any of the humor is intentional, though, who the hell knows? I'm willing to bet Neil Breen, like, there's a part of me that feels like he might be self-aware, but there's another part of me that, like, where I feel like he's like shutting out.
I feel like he's way too like full of himself because all of his movies are basically the same. Where he's like uncovering some fucking government conspiracy with all of his like broken ass laptops he likes tossing around.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite moments where he's just sitting in his office and he's got like these obviously broken laptops he got off of like Craigslist or something, and he's just throwing them around like it's nothing.
Yeah, he's just like, he's always dropping them or pouring something on them so you know they're broken.
Yeah, or like I love that one shot where he's like laying face down on the desk, and he's like holding a cup of coffee and he's like shaking, and you're like, oh, is he gonna drop it? He's gonna drop it, and then he just dumps it on himself. Let's see. I'm looking.
Yeah, I feel like he's a little like too full of himself for it to be like, oh yes, I'm so silly. This is totally intentional.
Yeah, like I'm willing to bet I'm sure he has to be aware of the reputation he's garnered online. I like to think that either he ignores the fact that people are laughing at his movies, or because like I'm willing to bet he doesn't like embrace the unintentional humor of it all. He probably just sees it as like people saying, everybody loves my movies so much, but he doesn't realize that no, they love the movies, but not for the reasons he probably intended for. Which real quick, I want to point out something Goodly Draw said in chat. The thing is, if a movie is bad enough, it's at least notable. If a movie is mediocre, the only thing it's good for is pointing out how forgettable it is. Yeah, honestly, that's very fair. Because there are movies that are bad, but I don't know. To me, a movie that's like bad is almost worse than a movie that's just disappointing, because a movie that's disappointing is like a movie that you went in with some expectation for it being good, whereas like a bad movie, you kind of already know what you're getting into, so it's not like you're shocked at how poor it is. Whereas like if it's disappointing, it's like, man, I was really wanting that to be good and just really let me down.
Almost certainly. There's like the whole saying of, well, this is a steak and this other film's a burger. I never really liked that because I feel like everything should be judged on its own merit.
Mm-hmm.
So like technically it is better, but like sometimes you just want a burger, and sometimes the burger got fucking mold on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so.
Anyway, so yeah, Fateful Findings is quite the treat. Now, this next one, I absolutely agree with it being on the list. Movie 43.
Oh God.
I remember I watched this movie because I used to work with work at an office that was next door to this other office where I became friends with this woman over our love of movies. And I remember one time she told me to give movie 43 a chance, saying it was like, oh my God, me and my friends watched it. We thought it was so funny. So I decided, well, how bad could it be? I am shocked.
She's
I didn't
rubbing her hands.
Yeah, I
was
gonna
rubbing
say,
her hands together all sinisterly.
Yeah, I'm shocked I didn't just storm into her office and just start beating the shit out of her, being like, you made me waste 90 minutes of my life on this piece of shit. Because movie 43 is because I was mentioning before, its Pat is shockingly unfunny. I think movie 43 can almost beat it out for that. It is amazing how not funny movie 43 is.
It's painful.
Yeah, because and Rattlesnake Jake, I see your thing in the chat that James Gunn worked in movie 43. Yeah, he did. Which is
he's worked on a lot of things, and just because someone worked on one thing shitty shouldn't be a blemish on their regard.
Yeah,
it's like Michael Caine or whoever was in Jaws 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in the Collider article, they mentioned Griffin Dunn worked on the movie, and I love Griffin Dunn.
Cool.
I think he's hilarious in An American Werewolf in London and After Hours. So even someone like him could even somebody, I don't know. I guess it's kind of just adding on to your point, but here's what Collider has to say about it. Given it's a series of skits, there's not really a way to summarize movie 43 narratively. Even those individual skits are kind of nonsensical and shallow as far as premises go. Really, the only thing that ties most of the sequences here together is the fact that they all intend to feature shock comedy, and because there's an alarming number of A-list stars who appear throughout. Everyone here is completely above the material they're given to work with, which makes one wonder how the people behind movie 43 convinced or blackmailed so many other people into appearing in it. It's one of those absolutely cursed comedies that has essentially no laughs, and no matter how curious its existence might make you feel, for no reason whatsoever should you waste any of your precious / finite time on Earth on this. Honestly, could not have worded it better myself, because
it's being way too nice.
Because I know that a lot of people will say oh, I'm not gonna pay money to see this, I'm just gonna pirate it, which that's a whole other thing. I understand money and all, but here's the thing: money, you can easily make money back. Time, you can never get back. So it's sure, you're if you decided to hate watch Velma, it's sure, you may not have to pay for HBO Max to watch it by pirating it, but it's is it still worth your time? No, there's way better things you could do with that time.
Yeah, you can learn a language in the time, and you can waste on this.
Because the thing about movie 43 is that the thing is every single sketch in the movie, it's all based on one joke, and that's it. They don't do anything with that joke. Okay, they're the segment where Kate Winslet and Hugh Jackman are on a blind date, and Hugh Jackman has balls dangling from his chin. That's it. That's the joke. Or there's a sketch where Terrence Howard is the coach of a basketball team in the 1950s, and he's trying to reassure them that they're going to win by default because they're black. That's the joke. That's pretty much every sketch in this movie. They're all just one joke, and they don't do anything else with it. And honestly, the story behind this movie is way more fascinating than the movie itself. How they managed to convince so many people to be in this, and I think Johnny Knoxville even tried suing to not appear in the movie, but I could be misremembering.
Good when they got the fucking Theodore Rex thing. I don't want to be in this movie so bad, I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah, I think I remember I read something about George Clooney was offered a part in this movie in a sketch where he's the smooth talking ladies man, but he always strikes out, and his literal response was no fucking way, so he didn't do it. But yeah, no, movie 43, that movie, because I have mentioned before, like whenever somebody says, "Oh my God, this is the worst movie ever," I'm like, I highly, it can't. There's probably worse stuff out there. No, this is one where I fully agree with everybody who says it is. Like, this movie is truly, truly awful. So anyway, on to the next one. We got this one I've never heard of before. 2025, The World Enslaved by a Virus. I don't know what to say about it.
I've not seen it, but I can smell that this is some weirdo fucking Zachary Levi kind of COVID is a myth film.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let's read the description. Back in 2025, The World Enslaved by a Virus was already funny because of how hysterical it was as a work of science fiction, that took place in the then near future. But watch now, in 2025, it's even more ludicrous. Christianity has been outlawed, communism is everywhere, COVID-19 caused a near apocalypse, and perhaps more alarming of all, ice cream has disappeared from the world. What? Beyond the ridiculous...
No, the woke mind virus has gone to them.
I mean, like, okay, Christianity being outlawed and communism I can live with, but like, no more Ben and Jerry's, like, no more chocolate chip ice cream, like.
Yeah, now we riot.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond the ridiculous premise, everything that could go wrong from a filmmaking perspective does go wrong at one point or another. In 2025, whatever, the action is laughable, the dialogue is hackneyed, the acting is super stiff, and the whole thing concludes on a tragic note. And then a few seconds later, you see a blooper reel in the end credits. If it's an intentional joke of a movie, then it might be genius. But if not, then yeah, it's an all-time stinker. Like, I have never heard of this movie, but just reading the description of it, it actually kind of makes me want to watch it now, just from how ludicrous it sounds.
I don't know. This sounds like a lot of conspiracy nonsense, and it's probably super unintentional, those funny bit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the people that kind of think this way take themselves way too serious.
Yeah. Like,
like tinfoil hats and like Russell Branding.
Yeah. Like, I see, like, Rattlesnake Jake in chat says, Lamal, this sounds like some schizophrenic boomer Facebook post. Honestly, yeah.
Literally, this smells exactly like that.
Yeah, I can see that. So anyway, the next movie on the list is The Legend of the Titanic. I believe this is one of those weird, like, Italian-made animated Titanic movies that Doug Walker talked about on. Yeah. I can't because I know there's the one with the rapping dog. Is this the same one?
This is the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the one with the talking octopus.
Yeah, because like, doesn't the octopus like rescue the Titanic? Like, doesn't it literally like pick up both?
This is one of the fucking dumbest and probably most offensive things, because like this is based on like a real boat where people actually died.
Yeah.
And it's a film with like talking sharks and tricking this weird dog face like octopus who say, "Hey, what to do?" And he throws the fucking iceberg at the Titanic. And he's like, "Don't worry, I got it," and holds it like in this photo.
Yeah, that's.
And then they made a sequel, but that's like, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know what would ever possess anybody to not only make this film, but actually make a sequel to it. But anyway, so the description reads, 2 years after the James Cameron blockbuster that people understandably think of first when they hear the term Titanic movie, 1999's The Legend of the Titanic offered an interesting, let's say, alternative look at the maritime disaster. This one's animated and also a musical, and comes complete with talking animals, a shape-shifting octopus, and a comically happy ending where the Titanic still sinks, but no one dies. It's an unwavering fever dream of a movie, and you could defend its optimism by saying, well, it's just for kids. But the idea of making a kid-friendly movie about the Titanic disaster is ridiculous to begin with. It's a total nightmare of a film, and is bizarre enough to almost be compelling, though watching it does mean having to put up with some very rough animation and generally awful voice acting too.
Yeah, like the James Cameron one, you can also debatably say is offensive by making a spectacle of a tragedy, but like it doesn't shy away from the fact that people fucking died on this. While this is like, don't worry, guys, I gotcha, and no one died.
Yeah, like because I mean it's been years since I've seen the James Cameron Titanic, but I do remember like you said, the movie does kind of make a big spectacle out of the Titanic sinking, but it does also feel like it's being somewhat respectful to the people on board, like the part
Yeah,
where
like they,
like when the band is
you go.
like no yeah, my bad, like when the band looks at each other and like, gentlemen, it's been an honor serving with you, and they like play like the really sad music, and you see like the captain watching as the boat like starts to sink and he's like going down with the ship. Like the movie does, even though again you could argue that it's offensive in making a big spectacle out of a huge disaster, they are at least somewhat respectful to the people who did die.
Yeah,
Like
like they are showing like the tragedy of it, and they're not trying to sugarcoat it. Like this happened. Unlike these fucking these, there are two of these, and they're unrelated, and they came out around the same time. And one of them has a fucking dog rapping and all ghetto and shit. It's
yeah.
like people fucking died on this. I know it happened 100 years after like this came out, but still, someone's grandpa died on a boat, and you're
Yeah.
fucking having all
Like
this bullshit around it.
like like can you imagine being one of the survivors of the Titanic, and like your kids like decide are like, grandpa, we found this Titanic movie, we think you might like it, and you put it on for him and he's just sitting there like he's just, I don't know, I'm just imagining him just trembling in his chair being like,
He's having like Vietnam flashbacks, like, oh my god. Oh.
yeah, exactly, like he's just sitting back
Yeah, like the
like,
equivalent would be like if like in like fucking 2099 or whatever, they made a fucking 9/11 inspired movie where a fucking giant pigeon holds the towers up. Like that's the same thing.
honestly, I hate the fact that I could see that happening. Like I'm willing to bet that'll happen at some point. But
I
anyway,
hate that.
yeah. So the next one is Alone in the Dark from Uwe Boll, which I mean, they honestly could have put any Uwe Boll movie in here. Like, although from what I've heard in terms of like his video game movies, House of the Dead is like way worse than Alone in the Dark. But I guess Alone in the Dark is more notable because it has like more recognizable actors like Christian Slater, Tara Reid, Stephen Dorff. Whereas like in House of the Dead, I think the only notable actors are like Jurgen Prochnow and Clint Howard, which I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked they got Jurgen Prochnow for it, but I'm not shocked that they got Clint Howard, because Clint Howard will be in just about anything.
I mean, yeah, literally, like, I just reviewed the fucking Silent Night, Deadly Night for the other day. This guy will just be like, wow, you gotta try this.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so the description reads, look, you can respect the hustle of a filmmaker like Uwe Boll without necessarily liking what he actually puts out. The guy is beyond infamous at the stage and seems to get energy from all the negative attention his movies get. He keeps making films, and he keeps making them his way, and though few people seem to enjoy what he does, somehow enough people do to ensure Boll keeps getting work. One of his more legendary / infamous films is Alone in the Dark, which is barely based on the video game of the same name and plays out like a rather generic zombie movie at best. At worst, it's an absolute visual and narrative mess, never really satisfying as an action film, a horror movie, or a video game adaptation. It's an Uwe Boll film, that's for sure. I mean, that's pretty spot on, I would say. I'm trying to, because I think I've only seen like 2 Uwe Boll movies. I've seen Rampage, which that one I actually remember being pretty decent, and then I've also seen Postal, which is bad, but I also weirdly kind of respect it, because that movie, like, it felt like that movie was obviously a game based on Postal, but it also felt like Uwe Boll, like his way of basically getting back at the audience, being like, you know, these guys, like, they shit on my movies all the time, they hate me so much, so you know what, I'm just gonna make this movie as angry and as vitriolic as possible just to get back at them.
Yeah. I've seen a handful of Uwe films, and a lot of them do just feel like he's just kind of shit posting. with like familiar video games like I think House of the Dead and Blood Rain.
Which
They also had Clint Howard in it.
Yeah, well, again, he'll do just about anything for a paycheck. But I remember hearing a story about Blood Rain where the movie was written by, I think her name is Guinevere Turner, who also co-wrote and appeared in American Psycho. And when she turned in her script, it was like the first draft, and she figured like, okay, maybe they'll go out, they'll rewrite the script, they'll change some things around. Then months later, when she attended the premiere,
was like, "Oh, this is perfect! I love it."
Yeah, when she attended the premiere, she was shocked to discover that they didn't change her script at all. They used the first draft. Which that should tell you enough right there about the kind of filmmaker Uwe Boll is.
So yeah, this is nice. First go. Don't need to try again.
Exactly. So this one, I don't think there's much else that can be said about it. 2004's Catwoman. It's bad.
It poopy, not good. Better time just clean out your litter box.
Yeah, which I know the one thing I will give this movie though is because Halle, I mean, not that I ever disliked Halle Berry, but I've never been a mega fan of hers. I will say she's not the worst thing about this movie. Like, she does the most with the awful material she's given. Plus,
it's
also,
like, it's at least we got a female superhero film.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately probably one of the worst movies ever made. But anyway, the description reads, Catwoman has a certain amount of notoriety as far as DC superhero movies are concerned, but it should be acknowledged that it's old enough now, more than 2 decades later, to potentially feel nostalgic. It could be seen as aggressively 2000s nowadays in a way that may charm those with a fondness for the era, owing to its campy humor, extremely dated special effects, and unwieldy style. On the surface and narratively speaking, it's really just a fairly bland origin story for its titular comic book character, but it's the way the story of Catwoman is executed and the different page everyone involved seemed to be on during its creation that makes it feel sloppy. Whether it's sloppy in a kind of fun way or an utterly infuriating way might well depend on the individual viewer and what they want or don't want out of it. Yeah, that seems fair. And I noticed Ralph St. Jake in chat mentioned directed by the visual effects supervisor of Alien Resurrection. Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure I did know about that, and I don't know which I'd say is worse though between Catwoman and Alien Resurrection, because like they're both bad. You can go first.
I feel like Catwoman's a little worse because she's a more like, hey, Alien Resurrection. That's like the 4th Alien film, so it's getting kind of sloppier and sloppier. Well, Catwoman is one of the biggest like woman superhero characters, and they fumbled the ball so damn bad with so original, like stupid origin that no one cares about.
Yeah, like I have a weird soft spot for Alien Resurrection because I remember back in the day I grew up surfing the movie channels constantly. Like I would surf through like HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, etc. And for whatever reason, on HBO they always had Alien Resurrection on, and I would catch it every time it was playing. And it's definitely the weakest of the original Alien films, but it's also like unintentionally hilarious. Like when Sigourney Weaver like throws the basketball over her shoulder and she gets the basket like with no effort, or some of the lines in it too, like when she's like, so who do I have to fuck to get out this boat? Or the one guy in the wheelchair, like I remember there's one scene where he comes out and he's like, hurry, expecting Santa Claus. But anyway, real quick, before we move away from Catwoman, I will say one thing about this movie that it did give us that's pretty great is Halle Berry was like one of the few people in Hollywood who actually accepted her Razzie Award in person, and I wanted to just play her acceptance speech for the audience real quick. So, and Brady, you can still see my screen, right? Okay, cool. So yeah, this is her accepting her Razzie Award. It's pretty legendary.
Halle Berry for Catwoman.
I don't even know why I'm here, so
let's,
it's all right.
well, I'll just show
No,
the
really,
bit where they show the
I'm
clip.
late for work. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even...
You should come back anytime. I'm always here.
Oh, and also, fun fact, this old lady right here, she was Arthur Fleck's mother in 2019's Joker.
Oh, it's all connected. Fucking DC, I swear.
Exactly.
I wonder who's getting the Razzie.
Yeah, I would love to be a fly on the wall during that day of filming where the director's like, okay, now Hallie, she's gonna hand you the catnip, and what I want you to do with it is I want you to put it up against your face and just rub it all over. Just imagine you're just smearing, like, I don't know, face cream all over. Just imagine the catnip is cream. You're just smearing it all over. And she's like, okay. I mean, I won an Oscar. Why are you asking me to do this?
Yeah, Halle Bailey was like at the peak of her popularity, and she's doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Like what most people would do for attention at the end of their.
Yeah, exactly.
Halle Berry.
Yay!
This is one thing about her acceptance speech I love, is the fact that she actually showed up with the Oscar she won for Monsters Ball.
And they can like clink them together.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say she probably shouldn't have like clinked them together, because the Oscar, I'm pretty sure, is like made of real gold, whereas the Razzie, I'm pretty sure, is just like some bits of plastic that they just like put together.
Some like fucking tinfoil.
I should probably skip through some of this because some of her crying is like a little much. So.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I never in my life thought I would be up here.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people in Hollywood have said that.
Winning a Razzie! I mean, it's not like I ever aspired to be here. But thank you. Oh gosh. And no, I don't have to give this back. It's got my name on it.
Let me just skip ahead to.
So, please indulge me and just let me, go through this. First of all, I want to thank Warner Brothers. Thank you for putting me in a piece of shit, god-awful movie.
See, folks, Warner Brothers, didn't just start becoming trash fire. It's always been trash fire, even before David Zaslav.
And that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
It was just what my career needed, I was at the
Balances
top,
out.
and then Catwoman just plummeted me to the bottom.
Well, I think also
Humbling.
because I'm pretty sure around this time she had developed a bit of an ego, so in a weird way, this movie did kind of bring her down to earth in a way.
Love it.
I'm
It's
going
hard being on top.
down
It's much better
there.
being on the bottom.
Whoa.
I want to thank my manager, Vincent Cirencione. Vince, here he is. Here's my manager, Vincent Cirencione.
And immediately after this ceremony, she fired him for getting her to be in Catwoman.
I want to say, no, listen. This guy loves me. He loves me so much. He loves me so much that he tells me that I'm the greatest actress there ever was. He loves me so much that he convinces me to do projects even when he knows they're shit.
Yeah, he's just like, yep, you're not wrong.
But that's how much he loves me. That's how much he really loves me. And my only advice to you, Vinny, is next time I do a movie, if I get a chance to do another movie, maybe you should read the script before you read. Just count.
Well, apparently that didn't actually happen because she went on to star in shit like New Year's Eve.
The zeros
Oh,
behind
no.
the one really isn't enough. You really got to read the script. Thank you. I love you, man. Love you.
Well, anyway, that's enough of the speech. I just kind of wanted to show that just because of how pretty legendary it is. But I remember in the speech she also mentions that like when she was young, her mom always told her to like accept criticism because it's only through criticism that you learn to grow as an artist. But I don't know. I just, like I said, I just thought it'd be kind of fun to share that just because of how infamous it is. So next up, we've got an MST3K favorite, Mitchell, which I think I've only seen through MST3K. I've never seen the actual Unrift movie. Have you, Brady?
No, I have not. Mitchell, very famous MST3K episode, because this is the episode where Joel leaves.
Yeah. And also it's pretty infamous for being, because I remember, his memory serves, I believe Jodan Baker, who stars in the movie, said that if he ever met the guys from MST3K, he'd punch them for what they said about Mitchell.
Yeah, he took it way too serious. Like, how dare you? I'm on peak of male perfection. Look at this sweaty, sad photo of him.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. The description reads, "You'd think an action movie wouldn't be as hard to execute as some other movies might be, considering plenty of films in the genre have gotten away with simple stories, clear-cut characters, and mindless destruction in our spectacle. But then there exists something like Mitchell, which proves such a thought wrong because this is one action movie that falls flat in almost every way. Mitchell follows an out-of-control cop who causes an almost comedic amount of anarchy in his pursuit to bust two drug runners who may have ties to a larger organization of drug dealers. It's not entirely clear whether Mitchell is supposed to be funny, nor whether it might be some kind of deliberate Dirty Harry or the French Connection parody. Excuse me. It's bizarre, it's sometimes quite dull, but it is something alright, and that's more than nothing." But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only seen this through MST3K, and I don't really remember that episode. I just remember like the Mitchell song, the one that's like "My main man Mitchell," and I remember,
yeah.
And I remember the joke that they make about, hey, wasn't John Saxon in this movie? Because
amazing.
Well, because like I believe this is one of those movies that they had to edit for TV, and in the editing process they cut out a lot of the scenes with John Saxon, which is why in the MST3K version he just kind of disappears after a while. But anyway, so next up we've got, and this is one I'm like, yep, totally deserved, Son of the Mask.
Most definitely.
Which I remember when this movie came out back in 2005. I remember I saw a clip of this on Kids WB back when that was a thing, and they would always play that scene of the little baby doing the Michigan J Frog routine, and I think even back then I was like, oh, this looks bad.
Yeah, not to make you sound old, but like I saw this a lot growing up. They played it on Cartoon Network a lot for some reason, and the CGI even back then looked terrible. Which
says a lot considering that this had like at least like substantially more of a budget than the original film did, and yet the movie from 1994 somehow has better CGI than the movie from 2005.
Yeah, I mean, even in this clip, you see the makeup; he looks all plasticky and weird.
Yeah, like. And I will say, because I've only seen like maybe half of this movie, I will say Alan Cumming actually makes the movie somewhat enjoyable just from how over the top he is. But I don't know.
Yeah, but that's just Alan Cumming.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, going from like Jim Carrey to Jamie Kennedy is a big oof, in my opinion.
Yeah, big off. And like his weird plastic Conan O'Brien hair.
Yeah, exactly. With like his like big oversized teeth.
He's like, hey, like, ew, gross.
Yeah, since the dawn of the 21st century, Robert Rodriguez has made some pretty garish looking and technically all over the place family, sci-fi, fantasy movies, but his worst efforts look like Citizen Kane compared to something like Son of the Mask. The aesthetic is comparable, as is the overuse of CGI and the vibes that just feel off, but none of it's in service of anything that'll appeal to kids or older viewers. Taking The Mask and reusing its name for cynical, money-grabbing purposes, Son of the Mask doesn't really satisfy as a sequel or follow-up to that 1994 film, and instead only succeeds if you're after another Mask movie that feels even more like a fever dream. Some people would call this one of the worst sequels of the 21st century so far, and some people might be right on the money. Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the worst sequels ever. Like, it's like, I'm still shocked that even after Super Mario Brothers, Bob Hoskins hasn't said one word about this movie. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know the Super Mario Brothers movie was its whole thing and it had a trouble production, but like, Son of the Mask is objectively worse than the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, in every way. Actually, I kind of like the live action Mario. Someone's gonna be like, "You bastard" in the comments, but like, whatever. This movie sucks.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, on a technical level, I don't think the live action Mario movie is like good. It's just because of how far removed it is from the source material. But I do really kind of respect it for just how out there it is and how weird a lot of the design choices are. And I don't know, just the fact that they even went so far removed from the source material is really kind of admirable. Like, it's one of those movies that hardly ever exists anymore, and I'm kind of glad it does. Like, technically, the animated Mario movie is better just because it's more faithful to its source material, but like, I doubt it'll have the same legacy as the 93 film.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Let's see. Rattlesnake Jake is asking me best character in Spy Kids films. Are you asking me, or are you referring to Alan Cumming from Spy Kids? Because I remember he was kind of fun as like the main villain in the first movie.
Who, what, when, where, and why?
Yeah. Let's see. Ghost says CGI has always been wonky. Look at Dragonheart and later Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. Movies with modest or even low budgets can do amazing, and then we have modern Marvel stuff. Ew. Yeah, you're not. Well, I mean, yeah, I do think CGI has gotten worse in more recent years, but I feel like it's more to do with the fact that a lot of like CG artists are not given enough time or budget to really flesh out the effects the way they should. Like, you know, that's the reason why something like The Mummy from 1999 looks way better than the 2017 Mummies, because they were given like years to render out the effects and make them look as good as they could. Whereas like with the 2017 Mummy, they probably only had like the barest amount of time and money to
like
get
2
anything
months
done. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Goodly Draws in chat says the Mario movie is actually enjoyable. The director of Son of the Mask literally said he wanted his film to give people headaches. Oof. Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, what? Man, I hope my movie's so good it causes people pain.
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
The kid who won a spot from Nintendo Power to be in Mask 2 must be really pissed.
Yeah, I think, well, to kind of go a little bit into that, I know the reason why that never happened is because Jim Carrey dropped out. And if memory serves, I think I read somewhere that in the last issue of Nintendo Power, they like gave condolences.
They said sorry?
Yeah, and I think they gave him like some kind of consolation prize or something. But I mean, like, can you like imagine like you're a kid in the 90s, you win the contest, and then you don't hear anything for years, and then 2004 or whatever, they're like, hey, remember that contest you entered a decade ago? And you're like,
he's like, what the fuck? What?
And then it's like, well, guess what? We're finally doing it. And you go onto the set and you see Jamie Kennedy, and you're just like, oh no.
Like, what is this shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why is... It's like, I barely remembered, and I didn't even get Jim Carrey. What is this shit?
Yeah. So next up, we've got something called Attack Force from 2006 with Steven Seagal, which, I mean, I haven't seen this movie, but considering it's more recent-ish Steven Seagal, I'm guessing that's probably why it's on the list.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, but I can tell from there being a Steven Seagal in it, it's probably not good, especially with it being from 2006. So this guy can barely stand up or even want to record his extras, kind of Steven Seagal.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Sure, Steven Seagal is technically a well-known martial arts actor, but does he deserve to be? It can be hard to figure out what his appeal is, because outside the thoroughly okay movie that is Under Siege, he hasn't really been the lead in anything particularly good. Attack Force stands out as one of his least impressive films, and that's really saying something, because this sort of one-man army revenge-centered action movie shouldn't fall apart quite this poorly. It's as good an action movie as Seagal's Sniper Special Ops is a good war movie, so that's to say, not very good at all, putting it mildly. Steven Seagal shoots, sleepwalks, and slouches around for a feature-length runtime that does mercifully end after a little over 90 minutes, though anyone watching without a timer or a watch would be forgiven for mistaking the experience as lasting much, much longer. I mean, I feel like you could probably use that to describe any modern-day Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah, basically. Like, I don't always want to be like, this guy fucking sucks, but like Steven Seagal is just like genuinely a piece of shit, and he's just like the laziest guy ever.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not a huge fan of hers, but I remember I saw a clip of Katherine Heigl on, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel's show, and she was talking about, because she was in a Steven Seagal movie back in the day. I think it was like Under Siege 2 or something, and she told a story about how Seagal was talking to her about like these underage like Asian girls that he had around him that were like his girlfriends, and Seagal and like she was like, aren't they a little young or whatever, and Seagal was like, they don't seem to mind, and Katherine Heigl says she turned around and was just like, Mom.
Yeah, good reminder that Steven Seagal lives in Russia, and he's like close friends with Putin.
Yeah. Ghost in the chat says Steven Seagal is the Uncle Rico of Hollywood. Had one bright shining moment,
Literally.
and the rest has been him coasting on that. Honestly, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he knew how to do martial arts in like the 70s and 80s, and he made Under Siege, and that's basically been his personality.
All right, so the next one we got here is another one I've never heard of. She's Out of Control, from 1989. I'm just gonna assume it's probably like a dumb like 80s teen sex comedy, like kind of on the same page as like I don't know, Porky's or Hard Bodies or what was that one, Private Resort with Johnny Depp that he's embarrassed about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brady, have you ever heard of She's Out of Control?
No. Oh, this looks so generic. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah. Let's see. She's Out of Control is the rare bad movie that has a premise so rotten you can really just describe the basics of what happens without commentary, and in turn present a compelling argument as to why it shouldn't have ever existed. It's about a widowed man who has a weird dynamic with his two teenage daughters, both of whom are enthusiastically encouraged to date in out-of-control ways, as that title threatens, by the widower's new part.
This is getting weird. I don't like this.
Sure, unsettling premises can be done well if approached in the right way, because something like World's Greatest Dad has a super alarming central premise, but it's executed well and also works because of how good Robin Williams was in the lead role. No one in She's Out of Control seemed on board with what needed to be done to make this work even slightly, and perhaps it's understandable why it's one of those 1980s comedies that kind of languishes in obscurity nowadays. Honestly, yeah, I mean, just reading that synopsis, I'm like, oof, like, probably a good thing this movie is so obscure.
Yeah. Fast forward for this. Never play this again.
Yeah, let's just move on. So the next one we got is the 2022 live-action Pinocchio, which I haven't seen it, but I've seen enough.
It's not good.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a live-action Disney remake. Like, how good could it possibly be?
Oh, they should. This little photo, they should have had the scene where Pinocchio's sniffing fucking horse shit on the road.
What?
That happens.
Somehow I'm not surprised. One thing I do find hilarious though is that in 2022 we had like 3 Pinocchio movies and only one of them was actually good.
Yeah. Also, this film, they kind of like cheaped out because modern film, they didn't want to have kids like drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. So I think they literally just give them root beer.
Do they still do like the horrific like transformation scene where the kid like turns into a donkey?
He does turn into a donkey, but they tone it down.
That's pretty disappointing because like say what you will about Disney, but like back in the early days they actually had some balls. Like they were not afraid to like they wouldn't shy away from something like a kid like screaming out in pain for his mom as he's like turning into a donkey. Or like in Snow White when she's running away from the huntsman and she encounters the scary forest. Like early Disney wouldn't shy away from like, you know, really horrific imagery, but like nowadays it's like, yeah, they're just really big pussies about it. So let's see. Before things get too negative, it should be emphasized that Robert Zemeckis has done a great deal of good as a filmmaker. There's a chance he was behind a film you might consider a favorite, seeing as his best work includes the likes of the Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Castaway, and the admittedly slightly more divisive Forrest Gump. No one's going to count Zemeckis' take on Pinocchio, released in 2022, as an all-timer, though, nor a film that's anywhere close to what the director's made at its best. It's one of many live-action Disney remakes Disney's pumped out that's been made with too much enthusiasm, but these just keep getting made. Hopefully the trend won't last too much longer. Pinocchio was the arguable nadir from a critical perspective and looked especially weak considering it came out the same year as the far superior Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like, the good one.
Yeah,
that had Tom Kenny as like fucking Mussolini.
Yeah, and because I mentioned earlier there were 3 of them. Wasn't the third one like some weird animated movie with Pauly Shore as the voice of Pinocchio?
Yeah, and it was like a big meme for a minute. Like he's all flamboyant, like, oh my god, father.
Yeah, I do remember that one. I mean, I never saw it. I just remember the memes, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, same.
It really does say a lot, though, that, you know, it took a movie made directly for Netflix that. Well, I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuttering, but
What?
And it does really say a lot though when the Disney movie fails and the Netflix movie like succeeds. Like, because say what you will about Netflix, but like they've been doing a lot of really good work with Guillermo del Toro between like Pinocchio and the Frankenstein movie that came out earlier this year. Like, you know,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're cooking. And I remember Rattlesnake Jake in the chat mentioned Robert Zemeckis really has fallen off since Castaway. Honestly, yeah, he really has.
Yeah, he like hit his head or something, and he got really into like mocap for a minute, and it's just kind of been deteriorating from there.
Yeah, because like he did kind of succeed with like the Polar Express, and I heard that his Christmas Carol movie wasn't half bad, but then you got stuff like
yeah, it's a really good one.
But then you got like Beowulf and let's see. I remember there was another one before. Wasn't there another one before? Because I know Mars Needs Moms is like the one that kind of killed it. But wasn't there one that came before Mars Needs Moms?
No, there was Tintin, which was also really good. And then they were also going to remake like Yellow Submarine, but that fell apart.
Yeah.
And, well, there's a clip of John singing.
Yeah, and then Mars Needs Moms pretty much killed that whole trend.
Yeah, it's like one of the fucking Mars is cursed because it and like fucking John Carter of Mars like did terribly at the box office around the same time.
Yeah, which honestly, I didn't see John Carter in the theater, which you know means I contributed to it.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, honestly, because I did eventually see John Carter. Honestly, it's not that bad. Like it kind of reminds me of like a big budget like 80s sci-fi movie. Like it kind of reminded me of like the 80s Dune in a way, where it's like grandiose and operatic, but you can kind of tell that it was like I hate to say it, but it was kind of destined to fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that. It's kind of too big for its britches, and at the same time, Disney got Star Wars, this was kind of like we don't really need you anymore, bruh.
Yeah, pretty much. Ghost says John Carter is underrated. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, it's not perfect, but like I'd say the weakest part of it is the lead. Like, just because I don't know, Taylor Kitsch just is kind of in my opinion. But I don't know, the movie itself, I remember being just so weird and like out there that I don't know, it was kind of fun. Like, you know, I would say it was also kind of one of those movies that was destined to be like more of a cult film than anything. Like, I highly doubt it was ever going to achieve any kind of like I'm trying to think of the word for it. Like, it was never going to be like a massive blockbuster. It again, it was kind of destined to be a cult film. So anyway, the next one we got is from Justin DeKelly, which, you know, I mean, who could have possibly thought this would go wrong? You know, a movie starring the two finalists from America's Got Talent, like, I mean, not America's Got Talent, American Idol. Like, who could have possibly thought this would have gone bad? Like,
I've not seen this one. What's this?
So basically, the most I know about this movie is that it came out after the first season of American Idol, where Kelly Clarkson and Justin, whatever his name is, were like Kelly Clarkson was the winner, and okay, it says here in the article, Justin Guarini, I'm probably saying that wrong, he was like the runner-up. So somebody in Hollywood decided, hey, let's take these two non-actors and make them the lead in a lighthearted, like, romantic comedy that's also a musical. Why not? Like, it'll surely make money. Yeah, it was like, I think it's so bad that like Kelly Clarkson has even said that she's never shown her daughter this movie. And she even has said, like, in interviews, that the only reason why she did this movie was out of contractual obligation. So anyway, let's see. If you enjoyed the sort of 2000s cheese found in the aforementioned Catwoman and want to see a similarly pungent sort of cinematic cheese transposed to the musical genre, from Justin DeKelly might be worth a cautious sniff. Commentary regarding this movie will always have to begin with its novel production / premise, as it's a romantic comedy / musical starring both the winner, Kelly Clarkson, and the runner-up, Justin Guarini, from the first season of American Idol. This instantly dates from Justin DeKelly, as does all the fashion, humor, and eye-rolling musical numbers on offer throughout. It's a garish, awkward, and achingly repetitive movie about finding love in an unexpected place, Florida, during spring break. But there is something close to endearing about it. The label, so bad it's good, might be somewhat contentious, but from Justin DeKelly, probably deserves to be defined with such a term. I mean, if you say so, like, I don't know. I can't help but think from Justin DeKelly, it's just one of those projects that was like doomed to fail. Like, I feel like this is the sort of thing that like an executive would come up with, thinking like, oh, this is gonna be the next big hit, and then it just like fails so spectacularly on them. So I'm looking in the chat also. Ghost is saying John Carter was like Treasure Planet. Disney poured a lot of money into it just to set it up to fail. A lot of backroom sabotage. Yeah, because I know
yeah, that sounds all right.
Because I don't know the full story behind Treasure Planet, but I know that was supposed to be like another big like summer blockbuster for Disney, and that was another like massive bomb for the company, and that was like kind of the end of like traditional animated movies, and like kind of what led to the whole dominance of like 3D animation.
Which sucks, because Treasure Planet's fucking awesome.
Yeah, because I've actually made the joke that like, because Disney of course is pumping out the remakes, I made the joke that like if Disney really had some balls, they would remake one of their movies that didn't do so well in the past, like do a remake of like The Black Cauldron or Treasure Planet. And whenever I say that, people are like, oh, don't you dare do it. And I'm like, I'm not saying, you know, like the movie's bad. I'm just saying it bombed. It bombed pretty bad. So if Disney actually decided to remake it, like that would take some gonads to do.
Go on, they can do it.
So the
next
next
some balls. Have Tom Holland in it.
Yeah.
Birdemic.
Birdemic, Shock and Terror. This is another one I feel like probably doesn't need much introduction. I haven't seen it all the way through, but I've seen enough clips to where I pretty much know the gist of it.
I have seen it, and it's. I think everyone can just kind of assume what's going on with this little photo if you haven't seen it.
Exactly. So
they're swatting at PNGs of birds.
Yeah, exactly. Birdemic Shock and Terror usually gets brought up whenever the topic of bad movies from the last couple of decades comes up, and with very good reason. It is something that drops well below what one might consider low budget, having some of the least convincing special effects in cinema history used to bring to life a story about swarms of killer birds terrorizing people in a small American town. The special effects are matched in competence by everything else that went into Birdemic Shock and Terror, because it's not well acted, it's bizarrely written, its pacing is all over the place, and visually it is entirely flat from start to finish. But the ineptness is mesmerizing, meaning this is one film that, while without redeeming elements in the traditional sense, remains utterly worth watching. Yeah, like I've shown clips of this movie to friends of mine in the past, and they're like shocked at how like awful it looks. Like, because you look at it, it's like
it looks like a movie that like James Rolfe made in like 2002.
Yeah, which, you know, I feel like you could give him a pass for that because he made it during college. Like, he obviously didn't have a mega budget, whereas like I can't imagine what the budget for this movie would have been like, but like just the fact that this got even some kind of like legitimate release, like that says a lot right there.
Yeah, like this fucking YouTube looking ass movie was in theaters. That's terrible.
Yeah. Although from what I understand, like James Wynn, who's the director, he's another one of those like I don't want to say, I guess, kind of egotistical filmmakers, kind of like Neil Breen in a way, where like he thinks he's like hot shit, but he really just spews out garbage.
Yeah, like didn't he say like, oh yes, the birds look good if you squint your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Although what's funny is like this movie had 2 sequels. From what I understand, the second one was like him kind of being a bit more in on the joke while still being oblivious, and then the third one was just him again being completely oblivious and just making a film that's like somehow even worse than the first one.
Yeah, like they walk around like I think Universal backlots, and then instead of coat hangers, they're swatting at the stupid looking birds. They're like jabbing them with umbrellas.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they brought back the 2 leads from the first movie and the second one, and there's like a bit where the girl from the first movie says to the guy like that it's been a while since he's eaten her out, and she like when the scientist guy from the first movie shows up and mentions the prehistoric birds, she says something like prehistoric birds, like she's kind of like she's like kind of making fun of the movie as they're filming. But yeah, so Birdemic Shock and Terror. Like I said, I've never seen it, but I've seen enough clips of it to where it's like I probably can say I've seen it without actually seeing it. So next we got Geely, which I have also only seen clips of this, but I know its reputation of like being one of the worst movies ever made.
I have not seen this.
Are you aware of Geely at all, though, Brady?
No, not really.
So let me paint you a picture. It's the early 2000s. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez's relationship is like hot shit, and someone in Hollywood decides, hey, let's make a movie starring these two as romantic leads, even though in the movie she's a lesbian.
No.
And let's also get the guy who directed Beverly Hills Cop to direct this. Yeah, Geely was a pretty massive flop. Like, I think it had like a $70 million budget. It only made back like $7 million.
Oh no.
And but it does have some pretty laughable moments. Like there's a part where J-Lo is like hitting on Affleck and she says, "It's turkey time. Gobble gobble." And there's a part where like she and him are like at like a outdoor restaurant talking, and some punks are blaring their music on the laptop, and she's like trying to like threaten them with like some kind of martial, like she doesn't actually do the technique, but she's like describing it, trying to make herself seem more badass than she is, but it just falls flat. But it's redeemed when Affleck like grabs the laptop, smashes it over his knee, and goes, "It's called suckmydick.com." Anyway, so on the other side of things, of things is something like Birdemic Shock and Terror is Geely, which is regrettably one of those bad movies that isn't all that fun to watch, ironically or otherwise. It's probably because it tries to be kind of funny and falls flat, which is almost always something you don't want out of a so bad it's good movie. Generally, if something is supposed to be dramatic and it fails, there's a chance unintentional humor will ensue. Comedy falling flat is another matter altogether. There's also a prominent romance element to Geely, and it's kind of a cry movie too, albeit a beyond tedious one. It saw tabloid press favorites and temporary real-life couple Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez star in the one movie, but the publicity generated wasn't good, and neither was their chemistry, funnily enough. A couple of supporting actors in Geely come close to almost giving it a pulse at some points, but the entire thing is not worth slogging through by any means. They're probably referring to because Christopher Walken and Al Pacino have small bit parts in the movie, and their scenes are arguably the best in the entire film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I can just assume just because who they are.
Yeah, actually, real quick, let me switch scenes because I got to show the at least the Christopher Walken scene from Geely because it's a sight to behold. Because like it starts out like relatively serious, but then it like turns like really. Sorry. Let's see, Geely, Christopher Walken. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty infamous moment from the movie. Let me stop the music real quick. But yeah, this scene is like one of the best like bad movie clips ever. So let me see if I can actually find a better a more high quality version of it. Yeah, let's see.
There's a scene with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a version of this that
J-Lo in the house, and he's got coach.
Okay.
What's going on in that room? And then
okay, never mind. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to find a good like version of the scene because I'm sure there's got to be a good clip of it somewhere. Because let's see. Okay, we'll go with this one. So this is Christopher Walken in Geely. This is probably one of the more infamous scenes from the movie.
Go down to Marie Callender's. Get me a big bowl. Pie, some ice cream on it. Good. Put some on your head. Your tongue would slap your brains out trying to get to it. Interested? Sure.
I just love that chair at the very end.
Yeah.
Or when he's like,
what a legend.
When he's like, put some on your head. Your tongue will slap your brains out trying to get to it. Like he almost sounds kind of like fruity when he says that.
Well, that's just Christopher Walken's.
Yeah. Plus, Christopher Walken's like one of those actors who's like infamous for accepting any role he's offered just because he likes working.
I love him. He's fucking silly. He should be in everything.
Yeah. So the next one we got here, this one I actually can't speak on because I watched this a few days ago. The 2019 Black Christmas remake.
It's fucking awful.
This movie sucked. Have you seen the 2019 Black Christmas?
It's so bad. There's a kind of like a double remake because like there's the original from 1970 and then there's the 2001 and then there's this basically unrelated in any way piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I almost because I've never seen the 2006 remake. I can't imagine it being any worse than this pile of garbage. Like
it's pretty over the top. Like it's in another planet compared to this.
Yeah, because like I've seen like bits and pieces of the 2006 movie. Like that movie feels like it's more respectful of the original than this pile of crap does.
Yeah. Like at least it's kind of like the original. This is just taking a somewhat, well, not like famous, but like familiar horror title and then just doing the stupid, it's relevant at the time, like fucking boys versus girls horror shit.
Yeah, like because I remember Joe Bob Briggs got into trouble over this movie because he was criticizing the fact that the movie seemed to be more focused on the message than the movie itself, which honestly, that's very accurate. Like, because this movie has the subtlety of like a cinder block to the head with its message. Like, I get, the message is important and everything, but like, you need to tell a good story. Like, you need to have a good movie. Like, you can have a message in your movie, but it has to be baked into it well enough to where it's like, you can still enjoy the movie even without the message. But it's like, no, this movie is so focused on its message that nothing else matters. And, like, it's a PG-13 horror film, which, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a PG-13 horror, because there are plenty of like PG-13 and PG horror films that are still great. This one just is lame with a capital L.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I'll read the description. There are 3 horror-themed Christmas movies with the title Black Christmas, with the original from 1974 being something of a holiday classic. I agree. The first remake it received came out about 3 decades later in 2006. It was kind of unnecessary and awkward as far as updates go, but it didn't run the risk of causing offense in the same way the next remake from 2019 did. 2019's Black Christmas is a diluted slasher movie that does away with much of what made the original Black Christmas good, bafflingly limiting itself with a PG-13 rating while making certain changes that just feel off. Seeing a group of female students fight to survive a persistent killer/stalker should be a whole lot more intense and involving than it is here, and there's no reason to watch this film when the 1974 one exists. That's kind of what it all comes down to. Yeah, exactly. Just forget this movie even exists. Go watch the 1974 film. It is a million times better than this.
Oh, in every way.
Because, like, the 1974 film, like, that movie also focuses squarely on, like, female characters. They're insanely more likable than the characters in this movie. They are all just like very generic stock, like, sorority girls. Like, go to any like, state run like college and you'll see the girls that are just like the ones in this movie, and they're all insufferable.
Yeah, and like also the bad guys are all these like toxic man, literally getting cursed by like this fucking venom that makes them awful and toxic, and there's the hashtag good guy. It's just so blatantly trying to say something without really trying to say something. And like, I don't mind when films have messages. I'm not that asshole. Like, keep this shit out of my movie. It's like, no, like, but you also have to have like a little more attack, and you can also tell that you're using Black Christmas just as a way to piggyback off of success of proven franchise, because no one will watch this if it's just like fucking sorority girls versus jock or whatever.
Yeah, and like kind of going off of the whole message thing, like Sinners, I feel like had a message to it about like, about racial relationships and whatnot, but like that was still a really well done like horror thriller with, that was competently made, well acted, well paced and everything. This movie had none of that. Like, it was just message first, movie second, and that is ultimately what killed it. So yeah, this one absolutely deserves to be on the list. This movie is god awful. And speaking of god awful, we've got Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler is Jack, Adam Sandler is Jill.
Showing neither of them, as we have the Dunkachino.
Yeah. I've never seen Jack and Jill, but I do remember when I was in college, a friend of mine told me about how around Christmas time, this is back in 2011, she and her family were going out for a night at the movies, and it was between either Jack and Jill or the Muppets, and they decided to go with Jack and Jill.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And she confirmed to me that, yeah, it is that bad.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna be that guy. Like, Adam Sandler is fucking terrible and never doesn't. No, but like, this is also not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I'll admit I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan in the world. Like, I never enjoyed Billy Madison or The Waterboy. I would say something about Little Nicky, but I don't want to get in trouble again.
Oh no.
But there's like some stuff that he's done that I've liked. Like I still think Happy Gilmore is really funny, and I do like a lot of his more serious stuff, like Punch Drunk Love or Funny People or Uncut Gems. But like, I don't know. I can't imagine even the most diehard Adam Sandler fan defending like Jack and Jill or That's My Boy, which honestly, I feel like That's My Boy deserves to be on this list more than Jack and Jill does, because Jack and Jill is like not funny.
Right.
That's My Boy is offensive and not funny.
It's just garbage, and even brings down and the what's his face from Lonely Island.
Yeah, Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
But like That's My Boy is offensive in that the movie basically is saying, hey, statutory rape is funny when it's a woman doing it to a boy, but it's like, reverse the genders and it's not so funny, is it?
Yeah, you can tell because fucking Jared Subway's in Jack and Jill.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my, how the times have changed. But anyway, so reading the description here, it says something about the quality of Jack and Jill that even with the spotty filmography of Adam Sandler, it stands tall or stands short as one of his worst movies. It's a movie that begins and ends with its central concept, which isn't hugely funny to begin with, as it sees Sandler playing both of the titular characters, a pair of twins, with Jack being the level-headed one and Jill being the hugely irritating one that upends his life during Thanksgiving. Not only do you get two checked-out Adam Sandler performances for the price of one, but you also get Katie Holmes and Al Pacino showing up in something their agents should have steered them away from. But then again, if there's a small amount of entertainment value to potentially be mined from Jack and Jill, it's a handful of times Pacino shows up, arguably with the whole Dunkachino sequence deservedly becoming a meme. Yeah, that's true, because I believe on Twitter, Dunkachino became a huge meme where like people were doing like remixes and animations and re-edits of the scene.
Yeah, it's the best part, especially like at the end. He's like, "Burn this, burn all those copies."
Which what's funny is I remember, because for years I was always like, why the fuck was Al Pacino in this movie? I read an article somewhere that he explained in an interview that when he was given the script, he knew the movie was bad, but he thought that maybe he could like elevate it somehow, like maybe he could make the movie better, which, I mean,
at least he's optimistic.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Al Pacino is arguably the best part of the movie, but I mean, that's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, that's kind of like putting, I don't know, Robert De Niro. Well, I guess it'd be like Robert De Niro in one of the, like, Meet the Parents sequels. It's like, yeah, the movies are shit, but you still got Robert fucking De Niro in them.
You got the Godfucker.
Yeah. Hang on. I want to check the chat really quick because I saw. Oh yeah, Ghost says, "Put respect on the Little Nicky name, FilmNerd."
Yeah, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, Little Nicky. All I'll say is like, it's not a good movie, but it's not terrible either. Like I've seen far worse than that movie. And let's see. I saw another thing from Ghost saying, as much shit as Sandler makes, I'll give him this. He always makes things and then puts his friends in them. He looks out for his bros, which is admirable in its own right. Yeah, that's true. Because like, as much of as I'm not a fan of him, I've heard in real life he's a really good guy. Like he works with a lot of the same people. He sticks up for them. Like he is a genuinely nice guy. So I do give him credit for that. Like, even though I hate the movie, I've heard that when he on the making of 8 Crazy Nights, he actually did go up to each of the animators and like got to know them really well, reference them by name. Like he is a genuinely good guy, so I will give him credit for that, even if I'm not a fan of his.
What a guy, what a legend, what a person. Yeah,
exactly. So next up we've got this one I haven't seen, but I've heard about it, The Hottie and the Naughty with Paris Hilton. It's from what I understand, it's basically a movie that tries to teach you that like beauty is only skin deep, and like it's not what's on the outside that matters, but whether on the inside. But it tries to like
Paris Hilton.
Yeah, and it throws in like a bunch of like Fairly Brothers style like humor with like gross out gags and toilet humor and whatnot. So it just really doesn't work.
I've never even heard of this film.
Yeah, I think I've seen the title perusing like the IMDb bottom 100, but I've never seen it myself. I just know of it. But the description reads, the premise of the aforementioned She's Out of Control was what you might call a red flag, but the Hottie and the Naughty goes one step further by having a red flag within its title. The poster doesn't help either. Yes, it is a crude and rather tasteless romantic comedy about two young women, one of whom is a titular hottie and the other being, well, you know. It probably aged on arrival to some extent, but the years have passed since 2008 and have quite clearly not been kind to the Hottie and the Naughty. It was a star vehicle for Paris Hilton, who became famous for a myriad of confusing and short-lived reasons during the 2000s, and stands to this day as an all-time misfire within the pantheon of flawed rom-coms. I mean, I guess, well said, even though, again, I've never seen it, and I think the only movie with Paris Hilton that I've seen might have been Reboot the Genetic Opera, which she honestly was probably pretty well cast for that movie as like the spoiled rich girl.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on, we've got Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2, which, hey, it's from the same director as Black Christmas, the original, though, Bob Clark.
Yeah, this film is certainly a piece of filmology.
Yeah, which, I don't know, it really does hurt knowing that this is the last film that Bob Clark ever directed, because like in 2007, I believe it was, he and his son were killed in a drunk driving accident. So to have this be the last, you know, this is the guy who made Black Christmas, A Christmas Story, and Porky's, and he ended his career with this. Like, that is really,
tragedy.
really sad. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. There's nothing fun about grappling with the existence of a movie like Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. The first Super Babies, well, it wasn't called Super Babies, it was Baby Geniuses, but whatever, did little to inspire much confidence.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah, did little to inspire much confidence in the idea of a sequel existing, but 2004 came around and a sequel Super Babies got. One that's worse in every way while being continually declared one of the worst movies of all time by everyone, because it's Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. It's about babies who have the ability to save the world, basically being something between infant spies and superheroes. It's intolerable, and it's somehow got 3 more sequels, all of them released in the 2010s. Yeah, that's true. There were like a bunch of direct-to-video sequels where I think John Voight was in all of them, and they're all like green screen movies, which, like, who in the... I mean, well, who asked for a sequel to begin with, but also who in the fuck asked for 3 more of these things? Seriously.
These films have kind of like the appeal of like the buddies films, just like people want to just be like, oh my god, what cute they are, oh. When they could just like do that with Google.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, it just kind of sounds like the kind of thing that like is made for cynical parents who like don't want to actually raise their kids. They just want to like put them in front of a TV and have them shut up for like 90 minutes.
It's like, hey, you're fucking 2 years old, have this, you'll bond with it.
Yeah, when there's like, you know, 1, you should raise your kids better, and 2, there's like way better movies you could be showing your kids. Like, shit, like hell, just show them like The Incredibles, Monsters Inc. I don't know, what's another one? I don't know, like, I don't know, Zootopia. There's a million other movies you could be showing them than like something like this, or like any of the Santa, like Easter Bunny puppy or whatever other shit is out there.
Yeah.
So moving right along, the next one we got is hey, Jaws the Revenge. We
brought that up earlier.
Yeah, which funny enough, Michael Caine has said, like, even after Jaws the Revenge, that even after doing this movie, but Michael Caine has said that that The Swarm is still the only movie he's ever made that he regrets.
Yeah, like, didn't someone say, like, hey, why were you in Jaws of Revenge? He's like, have you ever seen it? And he's like, no, but I've seen the porch it built.
Yeah, I believe he said it was literally, like, the money he got for this movie paid for, like, his house or something, which I'm just... because I'm trying to imagine him as like Alfred from the Christopher Nolan movies, where he's like, Master Wayne, years ago I was fighting with a giant shark in the Bahamas with Sheriff Brody's wife, and it was a whole experience, Master Wayne, but it managed to pay for this new house. Yeah, Master Wayne.
I mean, with Alfred gets up into a lot of weird stuff, so that's not really that crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I remember years ago I marathoned the Jaws movies, because I've seen the first one several times, but I think the other ones I'd only seen like bits and pieces of. Jaws 2 I think is actually pretty decent. I mean, it's basically kind of like Die Hard 2, where it's still enjoyable but not as good as the original. Jaws 3 is hilarious because of how like poorly the effects have aged, especially with it being shot in 3D. Yeah, exactly. Jaws the Revenge, I only saw like half of it, but it was enough for me to be like, yeah, this movie's terrible, but it's still like kind of hilarious.
Yeah, the fucking shark followed them.
Yeah, it followed them. Like, have you ever seen the Richard Jenny bit about Jaws the Revenge?
No, it's
okay. Sorry to divert for a second, but I got to show you this because it's one of my favorite things ever. Richard Jenny was a stand-up comedian who, sadly, I believe was like Stanley Ipkiss's buddy in The Mask, but yeah, without going too much into it, he did like kind of take his own life, but anyway, he has this really hilarious bit about the Jaws movies that I gotta play for you real quick. So let me turn up the music. This is like one of my favorite comedy bits ever. So let me switch to Zoom. Yeah, this is him on Johnny Carson. Let me see if I can skip ahead.
It takes so long to wax it.
Let's see.
You get on a plane and they're like, for your convenience, we have... Your friends are going, you just told me, you go, no, really. 45. You're watching Jaws for the Revenge. That's the title. Jaws for the Revenge. And you're sitting there going, this shouldn't be the title. The title should be, here's a fish, you're stupid. That's the title. You ever see a movie like so bad that they just slap you in the face with how bad it is? You can't even pretend. You go, you know, maybe this movie isn't that bad. I'm not wasting my life. And they just go, yes, you are. Are you sure? Absolutely. Look at you. It's 4 in the morning. You're sitting there with one sweat sock and a burrito watching a shark that only kills one family out of an entire ocean full of perfectly edible people for no reason that we never explain, and you won't turn it off because you think it's going to get better. A movie.
I mean, that's a pretty accurate description for, you know, most bad movies that you watch.
Yeah.
I'm still in paving this. A movie so stupid that no matter how stupid, you couldn't be stupid enough to enjoy it. I mean, let's say you have no brain at all. Let's say you're sitting on your bed, here's you, a bucket of popcorn and a spinal cord, that's it. Even your spinal cord doesn't go, hey, 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 hey. I'm not a brain, I don't have thoughts, but what is going on here? The mother of the family, check this out, has 3 people in her family eaten by the shark in 1 week. So a genius in her own right, she comes up with a plan. She says, well, shark is obviously after our family. Can't put anything over on me. It's only one thing to do, we'll have to leave town. And you're going, leave town? But wouldn't an apartment building be sufficient protection from the average shark? I mean, even if he's a really ambitious shark, right? Let's say, by the time he gets to the apartment building, parks in the guest spot, explains himself to the door.
He just kind of ramble
And
on
you're going,
bit.
but why doesn't the mother just not go in the water? Wouldn't that make more sense? And they go, well, ordinarily, yeah, but this is stupid. You see, in a stupid movie, everyone's stupid. The mother is stupid, the people that made it are stupid, but none of them are as stupid as you, because it is now 5:01 and you still think this is going to get better. So, I mean, the fish is coming up with plans to kill these people that the CIA couldn't figure out. I've caught fish. They're not that brilliant. They don't even make any noise when you're about to kill them. You ever see a fish there? So now comes a turning point in your life. If you don't turn off the movie now, just do the world a favor, and when the credits roll, get a vasectomy. The mother gets on a plane to get away from the shark, but before she goes, has an affair with Michael Caine. Typical reaction to this kind of tragedy. That's what I would do. Most people
I mean, what woman in 1987 wouldn't want to have an affair with Michael Caine?
I mean, yeah, he made those glasses popular for Austin Powers.
Yeah. Well, what's actually funny about Michael Caine in Jaws: The Revenge is the year prior he was in Harry and Her Sisters, and he won an Oscar for that movie, but he couldn't attend the ceremony to accept his award because he was on the set of Jaws: The Revenge.
Jeez, what a legend.
Man, I don't know. Man, my goodness. Ooh, when you need one. So now, get this. Here's the crescendo. The mother gets on a plane in Long Island, New York to get away from the shark. Flies to the Bahamas. Are you with me here? An ideal place to avoid a fish. Small island surrounded by water. When she gets there, guess what? Not only has the shark discovered that they have travel plans to go to the Bahamas, but to boot, he has beat the jet to the Bahamas. They land, there he is, couple of beers, Ray-Bans, and you're going, but wait a minute, there was a jet. Wouldn't a jet be faster than the shark? And they go, well, ordinarily. But again, this is stupid. You see, in a stupid movie, shark is the fastest transportation available. See, if you're going to London from New York, let's say, right? Tear up them Concorde tickets, get the next fish out of town.
That right there sums the movie up pretty perfectly. In a stupid movie, shark is the fastest form of transportation.
Amazing.
Anyway, so I guess, and also to kind of show you how inept Jaws: The Revenge is, the movie actually has two different endings. So in the original, and the endings play out basically the same, where they drive the spear of the boat into the shark. But in the original ending, the shark just like breaks off the front of the boat, does some death contortions, and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. That ending tested poorly, so then like a week after it opened in theaters, they re-released it with a new ending where they stab the shark with the tip of the boat and it explodes.
It just like spontaneously combusts. It's so weird.
Yeah, it just explodes. Oh, and also Mario Van Peebles, who early in the film we see clearly getting bent in half by the shark. He just pops out of the water with a couple scratches, and he's like, "Hey, I'm bleeding there, man." It's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, then they used the stab ending in the LJN game for the NES.
Yeah, they used that ending for the NES game, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised they used that ending and not the more popular ending where the shark explodes.
Well, because they got like the early development, they couldn't, this is the 80s, they couldn't just like pick up Discord and be like, "Hey, asshole, we changed the ending."
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll just read a bit of the description here. If you got a giant shark and Michael Caine present in the same movie, you'd think the results would be at the very least watchable. But Jaws: The Revenge exists, features a big shark, and Michael Caine is indeed in it, yet it's an absolutely miserable watch. 1975's Jaws is perfect as far as creature features go, and the sequels generally got worse and worse over the years. The fourth movie was Jaws: The Revenge, and it's borderline amusing. Owing to how preposterous the premise is, a shark genuinely pursues vengeance because of events in past movies, but it's not as amusing as one might hope. It's instead the most undesirable of sequels, just relying on a well-known name and some words added to it, falsely suggesting to gullible viewers that more shark-related thrills await them. It's the kind of film that smells your wallet like a shark smells blood in the water, and will pursue its contents no matter what. That's pretty well worded, actually.
Amazing.
So next we've got probably one of the most famous bad movies ever, Troll 2, which...
The legend itself.
Not really much about Troll 2 that we can say that hasn't already been said. Like, yeah, it's terrible. It's ineptly directed, ineptly acted, ineptly written, but it's also enjoyable for how inept the whole thing is.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's just kind of hilarious. And of course they use the photo of the "oh my god," which is like one of the first like big like memes of like a horror movie, I think. And then like it is basically like that. It's a trap from Star Wars of horror movies next to Garbage Day.
Yeah, which to me is hilarious. It's funny that like Troll 2 is not even a real sequel to Troll, and yet more people know about Troll 2 than they do Troll.
Yeah, the first film with two characters who happen to be named Harry Potter. No one cares about it. And Troll 2 has like goblins, not trolls. Neil Pogg's goblins spelled backwards.
Yeah,
And then there's 2 films after this, which are both Troll 2, Troll 3, and one of them is about fucking plants, and the other one is only Troll 3 because they use the same costume from this film, and it's also Ator 3 number 2.
Yeah, just wrap your head around all that. But I don't know, the notion of this being a fake sequel, I mean, it wasn't uncommon for Italian movies to do that. I mean, there was Shocking Dark, which is released in some territories as Terminator 2. There's Nightmare Killer, which in some territories was released as Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. There's like the zombie movies, like Zombie 4 After Death was sold as a sequel to Fulci's Zombie, which in itself was sold as a sequel to Dawn of the Dead. So the notion of this being a fake sequel, like, it wasn't an uncommon thing back then, but it's still just funny that the fake sequel is more well known than the movie it's a fake sequel to.
Yeah, like, this was the time of just put a name on something sounds similar, kind of like if they made Star Trek 2 and it was fucking Event Horizon.
Yeah, or I guess kind of going off the Shocking Dark thing, because that's a movie that in some territories is known as Terminator 2, but it's more of an Aliens knockoff. That'd be kind of like if you made
They're
a
waiting
movie...
for you.
Yeah, that'd be like if they made a movie about like the Titanic sinking, but they decided to call it The Abyss 2.
That's tentacle Lino.
Yeah. So anyway, description: Troll 2, for all its flaws, and there are so very many, is at least a beloved bad movie. It scratches a similar itch to Birdemic Shock and Terror, but might be even funnier than that one in its desperate pursuit to scare viewers. Aside from the kind of wild ending, nothing in Troll 2 comes even remotely close to proving it genuinely frightening, but the comedic value here is undeniable. The first Troll, don't worry about it. Just settle into Troll 2, a movie where every second scene contains a meme-worthy moment, the dialogue is persistently unhinged, and the performances range from comically understated to ludicrously over the top. It's a messy movie about messy monsters targeting messy people and causing a messy mess. It's terrible and a classic all at once. Honestly, pretty well said.
Amazing. And the people who were like behind this like know about it. Like, there's the Best Worst Movie documentary where everyone gets together. I think the director is like the only person who's not in on it.
Yeah, like because that to me is the difference between I'm trying to think of the term for it. Like, to me, that's kind of what I like about certain bad movies over other ones is like the ones that are made from a genuine place of like passion, I guess. Like, because Claudio Fragasso genuinely wanted to make a scary, horror film, but he was just so inept at his job that he made something hilarious instead. And I'm sure we're gonna bring this up. I'm sure the list is gonna mention it. The Room. Like, Tommy Wiseau wanted to make a serious, hard-hitting drama, but he was so inept that he just made it more hilarious than dramatic. Like, to me, those are the best kind of bad movies, are the ones where, like, you can tell the person behind it was really trying, but they were just so incompetent that it failed in so many ways.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to check the chat really quick. Let's see. Ghost says, "Wait, what? Terminator 2? Yeah, no, no, dead ass. There's a movie from the late '80s called Shocking Dark. That's a Aliens knockoff, but it's released in some territories as Terminator 2." And Duncaster mentioned Jaws 5, Cruel Jaws. Yep, another one. And then Ghost also says, "OMG, film nerd, you just reminded me. If you get the chance, look up Titanic 2. It's an animated film, and it's a treasure, Lamau." I do know about a
Just
Titanic.
like Tentacle.
Yeah, I do know that there is a Titanic 2 movie, but it's live action, and I believe it's from the Asylum. I only remember it because I was at a Blockbuster years ago renting like a video game or something, and I remember as I was standing at the counter, I looked over at the new release section, and they had a movie on there called Titanic 2, and I was like, wait, what? Did I miss something? Did I come out of a coma?
Titanic 2, Cruise Control.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait, did they make another Titanic movie? But then I looked into it. I'm like, oh no, it's not. It's something else.
Yeah, the animated one's Tentacolino, which is the sequel to the one that was on the list earlier, and it follows the people. It's also called The Search for Titanic, where they search for it in the beginning of the film, they fuck off to Atlantis, and they remember the Titanic exists and gets refurbished, and they're given an island with the fucking Titanic, which is not offensive at all.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely wonderful. I should definitely give that a watch. And I totally mean
it's free on YouTube.
Yeah. And let's see. Tailfin59 says the scary thing is that this is actually one of Fragaso's best movies. Honestly, yeah, that's saying a lot given Claudio Fragaso's work, which I mostly know him as being the writer of a lot of Bruno Mattei movies like Hell of the Living Dead and Rats.
Yeah, so. You just like see them hold your nose as like foghorns play. Wah, wah.
Yeah. Anyway, so next we've got because we were talking about this off stream, Ed Wood, Plan 9 from Outer Space, which it's been ages since I've seen this movie, and I know it's often considered like the worst movie ever. It in no way is the worst movie of all time. Like,
absolutely not.
Like it's too entertaining to be one of the worst movies ever.
Yeah, like it's bad, but like it's ambitious. It has an idea. It has like a reason to exist. It's trying to be serious, even though it's got like the budget of a fucking Twinkie bar.
Yeah, because this was, if memory serves, wasn't this movie financed by like a Baptist church, and like they all had to get baptized in order to like get funding for it?
Yeah, and then like Bela Lugosi is in this. It's technically his last film, but it's a lot of just like kind of stock footage of him, and the majority of the film is played by fucking Ed Wood's beard of a wife, chiropractor covering his face like a cartoon Dracula to show he's not Bela Lugosi, despite being like twice his height.
Yeah, like it's basically just like in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, where they're walking around with the cape over their faces, which is not scary at all.
Yeah, like that somehow predicted this. And then it has Tor Johnson, who's somehow also a horror icon, and he gets stuck in a grave.
Yeah, exactly. And you got stuff like the cockpit scene where one of the actors is clearly reading off the script. And there's a moment where a light goes over, and you can see like the shadow of the boom mic behind them. You've got like that
curtain.
You've got that weird like picket fence in one scene. You've got the scene where
it's all fucked up somehow.
You've got the scene where quote unquote Bela Lugosi gets shot. The cape falls off, and he quickly like readjusts it.
The cop is like spinning, like he's like pointing his gun at people in a very unsafe way. He's like basically spinning around on his finger.
And you've got like...
and he's trying to... Like, the actor did that because he wanted to see if Edward cared, and he didn't.
Yeah, which, that says a lot right there. Or you've got, like, some of the lines there, like, when the one alien's like, You see? Your stupid minds! Stupid!
Which is double funny, because he gets off of this, like, the solar monite is a super deadly thing that's going to explode the sun, and blah blah blah, and then the human's like, wow, this is a great weapon, and then he calls him out like the most childish way ever.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's like later like, because all of you of Earth are idiots. And then you got the psychic Criswell delivering some really weird lines like, I remember, my friends, future events such as these will affect you in the future.
Yeah, he's like basically reading off a cue card, and he's like, "We got that."
Yeah, but anyway, so the description is, "Hey, it's Plan 9 from Outer Space," which is just as essential to highlight when talking about all-time bad movies as something like The Godfather is when talking about all-time great movies. For something that's only 79 minutes long, it makes a gigantic mess of its story, which sees various people getting involved in a battle of sorts with potential alien invaders. Also, Bela Lugosi is here briefly. As far as 1950s B movies go, Plan 9 from Outer Space is a seminal one, even if it makes most other B movies of this era look positively A-grade in comparison. It's a movie that constantly seems to be on the brink of falling apart altogether, but it keeps on going and, to its credit, concludes. It's worth watching side by side with 1984's Ed Wood, which is a surprisingly great biographical movie about Plan 9 from Outer Space's eccentric director, Edward D. Wood Jr. Honestly, yeah, the movie Ed Wood, like,
great film.
It's not 100% accurate. Like, unfortunately, Ed Wood never met Orson Welles in real life, but it's still an amazing movie.
Yeah, like, Ed Wood is like the most stereotypical bad director next to Uwe Boll, but like Ed Wood is kind of groundbreaking in a way because he defied the Hollywood establishment and gender norms, and he like did this film was made in 1957. Like, making movies at this time was not as easy as today, where any asshole has an HD camera in their pocket, and then there's so many free movie editing apps you can make something. Like, you had to just fucking bust your ass to make a movie in 1957, and he did it, even if it did come out like stage production quality.
Yeah, and to his credit, like, even if he was incompetent, like, Ed Wood was ambitious. Like, he really wanted to be a filmmaker, and he tried his best to make a good movie. It's just, again, he was incompetent at it. So, but if nothing else, like, he at least tried, which is more than can be said for a lot of, like, current day filmmakers.
And yeah, like, hey, this movie is about, like, it's basically a shitty version of The Day the Earth Stood Still. Like, aliens are trying to prevent humans from fucking up the planet. But, like, as a kid, I thought it was Planet 9, not Plan 9. So, like, Plan 1 through 8 fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because if memory serves, I believe the original title was going to be Grave Robbers from Outer Space, but the financiers, who were a Baptist church, found the idea of grave robbers, like, offensive, so they had them change the title to Plan 9 from Outer Space.
You're going to have zombies and vampira and shit in this film, but we don't actually want to promote that.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Plan 9, like, I know it's often considered one of the worst movies ever, and on a technical level, it is, sure, but I don't know. I can't really call it one of the worst movies ever, especially when legitimately terrible movies like, again, It's Pat or Freddy Got Fingered exist.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on. The next one, and hey, one we talked about earlier, The Room, which... Again, nothing that can really be said about The Room that hasn't already been said by literally everybody.
Yeah, everyone's, like, reviewed this film before. It's, like, the most inept film ever made. It's just kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only thing I can really add to it is that, a lot of bad movies just sort of come and go. Like, they have their shot, they have their moment, and then just as soon as they come out, they're quickly forgotten about. What makes The Room so unique is that it's such a baffling, like, mess of a movie that it's almost, like, fascinating to watch. Like, just dissecting it and being like, okay, what was the thought process behind all of this? Like, them shooting a lot of the outdoor scenes on green screen, or them filming on both a 35mm camera and an HD camera at the same time, or them, like, building an alleyway set when they could have just as easily used a pre-existing, like, alleyway they used for another scene, or, like, why they put pictures of spoons everywhere instead of, like, putting, like, actual pictures in the frames. Like, just so many bad decisions went into this that you're just like, how did someone actually sit down and be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do for the movie and it's gonna make sense somehow? Like, it's just such a fascinating thing to look at and examine.
Incredible.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll just read the description here. No, there's no snark here. The Room is wonderful. It is technically inept with one of the funniest screenplays of all time, seemingly by accident. Its melodrama is wild and unrestrained. Certain creative choices have continued to baffle the film's diehard fans to this very day. Why are there framed pictures of spoons everywhere? Where does Peter go? Why are there so many sex scenes, at least one of them clearly being recycled footage too? Why does that dog look so displeased when Tommy Wiseau says hi to it? How old is Denny? Why is definitely having breast cancer of so little concern to Lisa's mother? Why did that drug dealer act so aggressively and then disappear? Is Johnny an alien? Was he in on that 9th plan from outer space? Why are there framed pictures of spoons everywhere? Why do those people have sex with the chocolates in Johnny's apartment? Why did the viewers have to see so many people ordering coffee in real time? Why are there framed pictures of spoons everywhere? Yeah.
You see, the Tick was a financier of this film.
Makes sense. Which I mean, there's so many great lines in this movie too. You know, the whole "I did not hit her. It's not true." And
This is bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, leave your stupid comments in your pocket. Or of course, you're tearing me up. My favorite line in the movie is probably when Mark tries to console Johnny and Johnny just pushes away and he's like, "Don't touch me, motherfucker. Get out."
You're looking so sexy today.
Yeah. No, I can't. Anyway, how's your sex life? I still remember the first time I ever saw this movie. I think it was shortly after Doug Walker's Nostalgia Critic video. I decided I had to see this movie for myself. So I rented it on DVD through Netflix. And I remember when I watched it, like, because the way the movie starts off, it's like 5 minutes of plot and then a sex scene, then story, then sex. When I was watching, I was like, was this originally going to be like a porno? Because it literally plays, like a Cinemax movie. It's like 5 minutes of plot, sex scene. 5 minutes of plot, sex scene. Like, am I wrong in that assertion?
No, but originally it would have been even sillier because he wanted, like, this is meant to be like all dramatic and shit, but he also considered the idea that Tommy Wiseau's character was a vampire and he flew away on a fucking car at the end.
Yeah, which I'm honestly kind of sad that we never got that ending because I would have loved to have seen how that would tie in with everything else in this movie.
It's like so random out of the idea. He just like shows his fangs and he fucking gets in his car and it's like shitty CGI and he flies out into the full moon.
Yeah. So anyway, now the next one we got here is Cats, which
garbage.
I actually have a funny story about this movie. So years ago, I was in Rogue Internet Man's old Discord, and I don't really remember why we did this, but me and some other people in there decided to watch this movie. And while we were watching it, Rogue just popped in and was like, "Why the fuck are you watching Cats?" And we were just like, "I don't know. We thought it'd be funny." And he's like, "All right, whatever." And he just dipped. And that right there should tell you enough about this movie. Like, it's as bad as you've heard it is. Like, just really uncanny CGI. Just, I don't know. Just
yeah, look at it.
Like, and this is kind of this is a sort of a Jaws the Revenge situation where they released one version of the movie, but then like a week later they re-released it because like in the original version, like some of the effects weren't finished. Like, I think there's a still floating around there where it's like a shot of Judi Dench. She's holding her hand up and you can clearly see her wedding ring. Like, they forgot to animate her hand to make it look like a cat's hand. So they had to re-release it with like quote unquote finished effects.
Yeah, like Cats is a musical and it's probably one of the most stereotypical musicals you'll see a photo of online or a poster in some asshole's room or promoted in New York right next to Wicked. And like Cats has this like very unique aesthetic that this movie decided to just not do at all and do this ugly hybrid cat thing.
Yeah, well, I know the way it was even made was very unconventional because normally with like this kind of CGI, the actors would wear what are called mocap suits, which are basically like these jumpsuits with like little dots all over them, where basically it records like their movements that are then put into a computer, and then the animators can like animate around the movements, kind of like rotoscoped animation in a way. But with this movie, Tom Hooper, the director, decided, yeah, to hell with that. We're gonna film all this footage, and then the animators are gonna have to go painstakingly in and animate around the people. Like, that'll work just fine, right? No, it didn't.
No, look at that. Terrible.
I like Tailfin59 says, a movie with its own day one patch. Yeah, honestly.
Literally.
Well, but even then, it wasn't enough to save the movie because I'm pretty sure this movie was a flop when it came out, and it got tons of negative reviews, and I think it even won a bunch of Razzies, including Worst Picture, which deservedly so.
Yeah, like everyone saw these designs, and they were like, "Fuck that noise."
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the description reads, plenty of already mentioned movies set out to be dramas before failing and working as comedies, but Cats stands out, instead being a film that was intended to be a musical, but ended up functioning more successfully as a horror movie. For the whole movie, cats introduce themselves through song and compete to ascend to some kind of heaven, only one being chosen to leave their supposed hell on earth, achieving the sweet release of death. Is that overthinking it? Maybe. But like the appeal of Cats is kind of limited to seeing it performed live, because translated into the medium of film, it just doesn't work. Parts of it are mortifying, other sequences are hugely tedious, and just about all of it's baffling. It's a beautiful clusterfuck of a film, an endurance test to be sure, but a welcome one for those who consider themselves particularly masochistic. I mean, that's certainly a way of phrasing it. Like, I don't know, like, this is a movie that I've only seen like once, kind of, and I don't feel the need to watch it again unless I just really hate myself.
Literally.
Anyway, so on to the next one. We've got Biodome, which I've only seen clips of this movie, but even the clips I've seen I'm like, yeah, this movie is a pile of shit.
Yeah, this is like the most douchey dude bro 90s film ever. I mean, Pauly Shore's right there.
Yeah, and of course you got Stephen Baldwin with his like really bad white guy dreadlocks.
His white boy dreadlocks.
Like, you know your movie is bad when William Atherton is actually one of the more sympathetic characters in your movie. Like, you know you fucked up when you've got Walter Peck from Ghostbusters in your movie and he's not the worst person in the movie.
Yeah, well, you have Walter Peck as the Unabomber, and he's like way more likable than these assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the only other thing I'll mention about Biodome is I've heard rumors that this is originally going to be a Bill and Ted movie, which I can't imagine in any universe Biodome being a Bill and Ted movie.
Like what? Bill and Ted time traveled and get stuck in the future in a fucking biodome?
I guess I don't know. Like I said, I've just heard it's like a rumor. I don't know how truthful it is, but yeah, just I can't imagine that being the case. But anyway, the description reads, more than anything else, Biodome seems determined to get on your nerves as much as possible. Yep, that's about right. So if you sit through the whole thing and find yourself annoyed for the better half of an hour and a half, has the film done its job? Probably not, because there's an art to having annoying characters drive comedy and or have redeeming qualities. Seeing planes, trains, and automobiles for just one example, and a good many buddy cop comedies for other examples. With Biodome, the movie is essentially just 2 hours, two losers with no direction, getting involved in an environmental experiment of sorts that sees them living as a pair for an entire year within a confined titular biodome. The pair get on each other's nerves and will get on your nerves too, owing to Biodome being one of those cursed bad comedies that isn't able to loop back around and become funny or interesting in any sort of unintended way. Honestly, that's pretty accurate, and I think this movie came out around the same time as like Showgirls did, and Showgirls was considered like the worst film of the 90s. Like, how that could be considered worse than Biodome, I have no idea.
Because woman.
Yeah, exactly. Because, women cringe, but, Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin acting like jackasses, that's perfectly fine.
Let's bring the kids to this film. It's awesome. Look at this disgusting, depraved woman. Ugh.
Yeah, which, because I think, not to go off on a tangent, but I'm pretty sure Showgirls came out the same year as It's Pat, and somehow Showgirls won the Razzie for Worst Picture, which, don't get me wrong, Showgirls is a bad movie, but it is a million times better than It's Pat. Like, how It's Pat didn't win, I have no idea.
They're fucking biased.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so next up we've got Disaster Movie, which I mean, honestly, they could have just put any Freeberg Seltzer movie on this list because they're all
literally.
They're all piles of garbage.
Like, they're all the most generic fucking first joke you ever thought of in your head about something kind of films split together with spit and farts and just the most bottom of the barrel jokes you would never fucking catch yourself actually laughing at.
Yeah, and just throwing in random pop culture references, even though they don't make sense in context. It's just, hey, that's a popular thing. Let's throw that in there. Like, you know,
This don't really exist.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's 2008. Let's throw Iron Man in there. Let's throw Hancock. Let's throw Hannah Montana.
Yeah,
let's
Juno.
Let's throw Juno. Let's throw Alvin and the Chipmunks, Sex and the City. I don't know. What else in 2008 was popular?
Just and like they also do like the most generic jokes you would think of, like, oh, Alvin and Chipmunks, and they got fucking rabies, like, oh, her.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like if you had to pick a movie of theirs that was like objectively the worst, it probably would be Disaster Movie. But again, any one of their movies could have fit on this list because they're all just piles of garbage. Anyway, so Disaster Movie is kind of Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2-esque in the sense that it's very hard to drum up the required enthusiasm to talk about it in any way approaching professionality. It doesn't really deserve it. It's the kind of film that gives the whole parody genre a bad name, barely even functioning as something that specifically targets and then pokes fun at various movies dominating pop culture. If you want to spoof with disaster movies like the title more than hints at, you won't get that here. If you want mere parodies of blockbusters popular in the late 2000s, it hardly fares much better, with the jokes often boiling down to, hey, isn't it funny that the superhero you recognize just got punched in their genitals by Indiana Jones or whatever? This kind of parody has seemingly, knock on wood, died out as a small comfort. Still, if need be and you feel unsafe, you can always wear your groin guard for protection. Yeah, that is something that really sucks, that people like Freeberg and Seltzer kind of kill the parody genre because, I don't think, because after their movies came out, I don't think we really got any other, like, parody films of note.
No. Look, I feel like it's sad, but at a certain point, also, just social media and how, like, stuff moves so fast. It's kind of hard to parody a movie, like, as soon as the film finishes and release, people probably don't even really care about the film anymore that you're parodying.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, Freeberg and Seltzer have more or less fucked off because I'm trying to think of the last movie they did. I know they did Super Fast, which is a parody of Fast and the Furious. They did The Starving Games, which is a parody of The Hunger Games. I don't think they've done much else other than that, and that was like years ago.
They did like Vampire Sucks, and then some other unfunny jackass made like Breaking Wind in the same style.
Yeah, but then again, like, because I remember these guys were like all over the place in the 2000s, but thankfully they pretty much, like I said, fucked off. So. But sadly, the damage has already been done, and we're probably never going to recover from what they did.
Yeah, basically, someone in the chat said, "Out my balls, IRL." Literally.
Honestly, that's not too far off, and even then, like, "Ow my balls" would be more entertaining than their slop.
Yeah, the award-winning television series "Ow my balls."
Yeah. So next we got Mac and Me, which I actually covered this on a stream a little while ago. It's bad, but it's also like hilariously bad because it's it's an ET knockoff that's just a giant commercial for like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, where the best scene is the kid in the wheelchair falling off a cliff.
I love that it's the photo they chose for this, the new Paul Rudd film.
Which I love Paul Rudd already. I think he's hilarious, but just the fact that like he'll go on to promote stuff like Ant-Man and he still does the Mac and Me bit is legendary.
Amazing. And then like this is probably like the biggest ET knockoff film ever. And like it's also Ronald McDonald's first major movie, which is bizarre to think. Such a big icon of pop culture's first appearance is this.
Yeah, exactly. And also just the fact that it was directed by Stuart Rathel, who also did Ice Pirates, which is I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I remember it being pretty fun. And then he went on to make Tammy and the T-Rex with a then unknown Denise Richards and Paul Walker, which he made simply because he had access to an animatronic dinosaur. I mean, I don't know, like, and also like, the thing that I find hilarious though about Mac and Me is it recently got a 4K release from Vinegar Syndrome, and I am dying to get my hands on that because the idea of Mac and Me getting a 4K release is hilariously awesome to me.
It's in crystal clear HD. It's got deleted scenes, like fucking kid dies and then Mac has to revive him.
Yeah. Which my favorite part of that the famous scene of him falling down the cliff is when the alien pops up and it gives like a reaction face.
He's like, oh. Yeah, like the aliens in this film is fucking hilarious for anyone who hasn't seen it because they have very shitty ETs that also look like just like people, and they got these big mouths to suck Coca-Cola for your straw, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So, deservedly best known nowadays for being part of a long-running Paul Rudd joke, Mac and Me, for those who actually want to watch in its entirety, is also technically more than just the bane of Conan O'Brien's existence. It can also call itself a mockbuster of sorts, likely owing its very being to E.T. the Extraterrestrial, with alarming similarities in tone and plot, but not in technical prowess or execution. In Mac and Me's favor, if you have to ape one filmmaker, you could do a lot worse than trying to be like Steven Spielberg. But Spielberg, skilled as ever, makes making movies look easy, and Mac and Me, by contrast, makes the act of creating a family-friendly sci-fi flick look insurmountably hard. Some might even call it Sisyphean, conquering a mountain only to roll down it, bound to one's wheelchair, falling off the side of a cliff into a river, as an ugly little alien looks on, feigning shock because he often watches Conan O'Brien and has seen this happen several times already. Yeah, that's pretty fitting. And Titan Tailfin 59 says, Mac and Me isn't even the worst E.T. ripoff. Yeah, because I'm pretty Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there's Yuuki that's like legitimately considered one of the worst movies ever.
It's awful.
Yeah, and
I tried watching it and I just gave up.
Yeah, I've heard nothing good about Yuuki. Although I do love that one clip of the one African boy going, "America, help us!"
Help us!
It's pretty great. Anyway, so next up we've got Battlefield Earth, which, yeah, this one's bad. It's really, really bad, but it's hilariously bad.
A big old sign for Scientology.
Well, not even that, because like, I mean, granted, I'm not super familiar with Scientology, but like, there's nothing really Scientology-esque about this movie other than it's based on a book by L. Ron Hubbard. But like, it is just so.
And it has like the main alien guy. What's his face? Is
Turl?
You know, yeah, Travolta is a Scientologist.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but like, well, regardless of the Scientology thing, this is just one of the most ineptly made sci-fi blockbusters ever. Like, the fact that the entire movie is shot with Dutch angles to where it's like you have to like tilt your head just to like get an idea of what's going on. Then you got John Travolta. Like, I'm surprised I'm surprised they had sets left over, given how much scenery he chews throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then you got like
these like terrible designs.
Yeah, and then you got Barry Pepper embarrassing himself, and Forrest Whitaker just looking like he's just waiting for the check to clear after every take.
He's like clearly the best actor in the film, and he doesn't want to be here, and he's stupid dreadlocks and the nose things.
Yeah. Although I've heard that like the book is actually like somewhat worse, because in the movie they explain that like the cyclists breathe carbon monoxide or whatever. In the book it's called breathe gas.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Rattlesnake Jake's 5 is saying to me, while you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies. Yep, that sums it up right there. But anyway, the description reads, if you look at what John Travolta did in the 1970s, you're able to find some classics like Grease, Carrie, and Saturday Night Fever. The 1980s might not have been as hot, but he did at least star in Blowout, which, that's true. I mean, Blowout might be my favorite John Travolta movie. Then came the 1990s, and forget the fever of Saturday Night, because Travolta fever was back in full force, as few actors have been as completely cool and idiotic simultaneously as he was playing Vincent Vega in the legendary Pulp Fiction. But things fluctuate in the world of film, and Travolta seems particularly vulnerable to these ups and downs. Pulp Fiction saw him starring in one of the best movies of all time, and then 6 years later, he was at the center of one of the worst movies of all time, Battlefield Earth. This one barely needs an introduction. Listing all the things it does wrong as a piece of science fiction, after all, would involve painstakingly noting every single aspect, decision, and scene contained within the film, and we'd be here all day with endless options for renewal, with endless options for renewal, with endless options for renewal, with endless options for renewal. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure Roger Ebert even said something to the effect of, like, this is a movie that will go down in history, like, in hushed tones, as, like, one of the worst sci-fi films ever, or something like that.
Yeah, literally.
I like Tailfin59 says, I'm convinced this movie single-handedly killed Dutch angles in popular cinema. Honestly,
good.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally, because...
this is giving people vertigo in this film.
Yeah. And Rattlesnake Jake is saying, did you hear about the lawsuit? Yeah, and my memory's a little vague on this, but I'm pretty sure the lawsuit is that the studio that produced this movie, Franchise Pictures, they like lied to their investors about how much money this movie costs to make, and the investors like sued them into bankruptcy, basically. Because they reported the film had a budget of like 70 some odd million, but it really only had a budget of like 40 million. But it still lost a lot of money. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Ghost is saying in response to what Tailfin said, I'd agree with you, but the first Thor movie exists. Yeah, that movie does. I mean, the movie definitely does have Dutch angles, but they don't abuse it nearly as much as Battlefield Earth does.
Yeah, like Battlefield Earth, it's like literally you're watching this as your house is sinking, kind of.
Yeah. I remember the first time I saw this movie in its entirety, I actually watched it twice. Once by itself, and then again with the riff tracks. And, I mean, the movie was hilarious by itself, but the riff tracks definitely made it more enjoyable.
It's time for riff tracks.
Yeah. But, and the funny thing is, I actually own this movie on Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray has, like, tons of extras on it. I really want to watch those extras because it's with mostly a lot of the crew, but I would love to hear their stories about making this movie and just hearing about everything that went wrong while making it. So next up we've got, well, this is kind of timely, North, because, you know, Rob Reiner sadly was killed earlier this week.
Tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely tragedy, which... You know, no matter what we say about this movie, I don't let that reflect our thoughts on what happened with Rob Reiner and his wife. Like, what happened to them is absolutely tragic, and regardless of the quality of North, like, he still is a legendary filmmaker that deserves all the credit in the world.
Yeah, he made several really good films, and North is not one of those.
Yeah, I mean, North is probably most infamous for Roger Ebert's review, where he says, literally, I hated this movie. Hated this movie.
Yeah, so you know it. This film's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the story of a kid who decides to divorce his parents, and he goes around the world trying to find new parents, and it's like every single, like, stereotype in the world you can imagine.
Yeah, around the world in 80 stereotypes.
Yeah, you got like Kathy Bates as an Inuit. You got Reba McEntire and Dan Aykroyd as stereotypical Texans. You've got like an Amish family, and just, you know, this is like pre Lord of the Rings Elijah Wood, and even he looks embarrassed to be in this. And then you got Bruce Willis in a bunny suit, and he again looks like, I don't think anybody in this movie looks like they wanted to be there.
Yeah, despite like it's a pretty offensive movie for being 94. Like this film kind of looks like it would have been made in like the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. And probably would have had like Mickey Rooney and Yellowface or something like.
Oh yeah, he would have been one of the Inuits.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, North was unlikely to be well received had it come out in any year other than 1994, but it faced some particularly stiff competition getting released then. A wide range of movies that have largely held up well came out that year, and North at one point looked like it might have been able to join such esteemed ranks, especially considering Rob Reiner was the film's director, and his past decade had seen him helm the following films: This is Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men. All classic films that, Rob Reiner should absolutely be remembered for. All classics.
Amazing.
All classics are close to it and all well liked for different reasons, but North was just a bit too much. A star-studded cast being haphazardly utilized for an overly sentimental and not particularly charming/funny film. Reiner has directed since, but it holds an immense hot streak, noteworthy for both its consistency quality-wise and its variety genre-wise. Without North, would Reiner still be pumping out a classic every year or two? Life is complicated. North kind of sent the poor guy's career south. Try the veal. Well, I mean, he still did pump out some good movies after North, because I remember The Bucket List was actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Spinal Tap 2, but I am curious to check it out because I love the first Spinal Tap. And I mean, even if it's not good, it'd still be cool just to see like the original band back together.
Exactly.
But I don't know, regardless of how badly North is, like that still shouldn't take away from the legacy that Rob Reiner left behind, and it is still a tragedy what happened to him, and I hope that his family, finds peace, and that he's remembered for the great man that he was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we get to the movie on the list that made me want to check out this list in the first place, which is their number 2 pick, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which this is the one that I contend with the most. Not because I think it's a good movie. I think it's terrible, but considering the other shit that's on this list, and they say Rise of Skywalker is worse than them, like, no, it's not. Like, is it good? No, but is it better than, like, Geely or the Legends of the Titanic or whatever the fuck? No, it's leagues better than any of those movies. And like, in no way, shape, or form does Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker deserve to be number 2 on a list of worst movies of all time.
Yeah, like this is definitely my least favorite Star Wars film, and it's really, really fucking bad. But like, Black Christmas is way worse than this film.
Yeah, I would like at least Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. Like, there's some exciting stuff that happens in it, and I mean, it's kind of hard to really hate a Star Wars movie, but like, I don't know, like this is definitely my least favorite Star Wars movie. Like, even more like, well, I don't know, for me it's tied between like this and The Phantom Menace, because as bad as this movie as Rise of Skywalker is, at least it's not boring like Phantom Menace is, because like every time I watch Phantom Menace, I can't help but feel the urge to fall asleep because of just how boring it is. Whereas this one, like, it at least makes me upset, which is an emotion that I can get, like, which is more than I can say for Phantom Menace, which is leaves me with nothing.
Yeah, like Rise of Skywalker, the whole J.J. Abrams thing. So I have the box. What's in the box? And then they got a second guy just to do nothing he wanted to do. And then they had just one more film to just kind of figure everything out. And they decided, whatever. And then they brought back Palpatine, and it was announced in fucking Fortnite.
Yeah, which...
It's an incompetent film, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, because, like, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but, like, The Last Jedi, I know there's, like, the whole meme about me saying it's my favorite Star Wars movie, which it's not. And I'm not going to pretend like it's a perfect film, but like I feel like The Last Jedi had a lot in it that you could like build off of and do something with it. But with Rise of Skywalker, it almost felt like Disney just went into like full damage control, and they were like, "Oh crap, people are hating what we did. So let's just take everything that they hated and just toss it out the window and just redo everything." Like, people hated that we got rid of Snoke. Let's bring in Palpatine. People hated that we made it seem like Rey came from nothing. Now she's Palpatine's granddaughter. People didn't like that Kylo Ren destroyed the helmet. Now he's brought it back. It's like they literally just took everything that people didn't like about The Last Jedi and just completely threw out the window like it never happened.
Yeah, I fucking hate it because they had like a concept. I like the idea of Rey being nobody. They didn't need to do the fan fiction thing of, oh, she's actually related to the big bad. And oh, it's Palpatine returning. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, okay, like, again, I don't think everything about The Last Jedi worked, but I feel like there's enough there that you could like build off of and maybe do something interesting with it. But Rise of Skywalker just decided, nope, we're gonna undo all that because people hated it. Which, again, I didn't hate Last Jedi, but I can understand why people didn't like it. But like, I can't imagine even those people liking Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the description reads, right from the start of its rotten, rushed, baffling opening scene, the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, makes it very clear that it pretty much hates you. Did you like Episode 8? Episode 9 hates you. Did you like Episode 7? Yeah, Episode 7. Episode 9 falls short in that department. Did you like the original trilogy? Lol, why are you still bothering? Hope is a dangerous thing for a fan like you to have. Did you like the prequels? Get out of here. Things move fast to the point where it's blatant that the filmmakers know they're throwing nonsense at the screen. They're just hoping they pelt you with enough nonsense that you won't be capable of processing it all. You might come away numb and say, yeah, well, it was a blockbuster, I guess. Things exploded, Babu Frick, John Williams, but it's not enough. And no, The Rise of Skywalker does not outwardly fail as spectacularly as, say, The Room, but it also had so many more resources to work with and squandered them all, in turn also delivering a conclusion to a 42-year-long story that was entirely disappointing. Gross, obscene, big-budget filmmaking at its worst. No wonder a plague was set upon the world such a short time after this film's release. Maybe, just maybe,
oh, no.
deserve. So they're essentially saying Rise of Skywalker caused COVID. Okay.
That was it.
I don't know. That's kind of stretching it. Like, again, I'm not saying this movie's good. It's terrible. It's, in my opinion, the second worst Star Wars movie ever. But it's, I don't know, saying it's worse than like any of the other movies on this list is like, that's reaching, like, to, even for me.
Yeah, like, this film has a budget. It's clearly visible. It's not like it almost has a plot, unlike a lot of these other ones.
Yeah, it's just so many bad decisions just really wreck the entire thing. Like, to me, I feel like this movie kind of proves like what was the biggest problem with the sequel trilogy is that they didn't really, because like, say what you will about like the prequel trilogy, but George Lucas at least had an idea of how each film would play out, like how Attack of the Clones ties into the Phantom Menace and so forth. With these movies, it doesn't feel like they had that plan set out. It just feels like they were starting with, The Force Awakens, and then they figured, okay, maybe we'll figure it out as we go along. Like, what they should have done is they should have taken the time to like be like, okay, here's how this movie's going to play out, how this movie ties into that movie, and so on and so forth. Like, they should have had some kind of outline set up that maybe they could like play around with a little bit, but they should have at least had something laid out that was a lot more clear than whatever this turned into.
Yeah, like, it's fine to like change things on the fly, but you need a 5-year plan for a giant franchise like this.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just do to J.J. Abrams, what's in the box? I have a box. And then figure it out later.
Exactly. And then we get to the number one on the list, which is probably one of the more obvious picks Manos, the Hands of Fate, which, yeah, it's bad. I mean, again, like, you know, Plan 9 and The Room and Troll 2, it's ineptly made, ineptly acted, ineptly written. But here's the thing. This movie is terrible, but I have a lot of respect for its director, Harold Warren, because here's a guy who was literally a fertilizer salesman. He had no filmmaking experience whatsoever, and he made a bet that he could make an entire movie without any assistance from Hollywood. And regardless of the final product, he did it. He got the money, he got the equipment, he got the cast, he got the crew, he got the location, he made the movie, it premiered, it got released. Like, he actually did it. He made the movie. Like, regardless of how it turned out, he did it. And that's more than can be said about a lot of people.
Yeah, like that's what I was saying about Ed Wood earlier. And this is a decade after Ed Wood, so it's a little, but it's still like crazy, just the idea of making this at a time when it was just not easy in the slightest to make a film.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact too that they had like no experience at all, like that they were just kind of shooting from the hip. Like, yeah, like, again, in a technical sense, this movie is absolutely one of the worst movies ever. Like, even at like 60 minutes, it is very hard to sit through. But
it's a slog.
But
the characters are weird. The plot doesn't really make that much sense. Stuff just kind of happens, but I mean, it fucking happens. Like, you can tell what's going on.
Yeah, plus the movie has brought so much joy to us, like with Torg and like his little and just the weird way he walks and the voice he has, where he's like,
dark soon.
Yeah, there is no way out of here. It will be dark soon. There is no way out of here. And you got the master, and you got the master with his robe where he stretches his arms out and he's got like big hands on the robe, and and you've got the wives who are just like catfighting, and you know, just all kinds of weird shit going on. And I don't know, like, it's a movie that, yeah, it definitely deserves its spot as like one of the worst movies ever, but given how it was made, I can't help but have like a weird amount of respect for it.
Yeah, and like I love that kind of thing. Like, one of my favorite reviewers is Good Bad Flicks, and he always goes into the behind the scenes of films. So I get a little bit of like respect for a film, finding out just the fucking boulder up the mountain had to go into making this. Like, yeah, no. Even the Cat in the Hat, like, they had to build that entire Whoville.
Yeah, and I mean, that movie, I still hated the live action Cat in the Hat, but like, there still was a lot of effort put into it, even if it was, you know, in service of a pretty terrible movie. But I mean, that movie still has its positives. Like, you know, again, the production design is pretty grand, and you have Dakota Fanning giving a honestly better than expected performance in that movie. And there's some bits with Mike Myers that are kind of funny, but as a whole, that movie does really fall apart. But no, I do agree with you that, you know, a lot of times when you learn more about the making of these movies, you do kind of get more of an appreciation for them. Like, that's actually a big reason why I'm a fan of like physical media, is because I love watching the bonus features to learn more about the movies I watch, because I feel like the more you know about the making of them, the more you appreciate the movie that you just watched.
Yeah.
I like Tailfin59 in the chat saying, you know, this list is BS because none of the shot on video horror movies of the 90s are here. And he also said, also, where the hell is Hobgoblins? Yeah, exactly.
Hobgoblin, come on. We need another MST3K.
Hobgoblin should have absolutely been on this list because that movie is pretty garbage.
It's like the 90s The Room, basically.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll just read the description here. Given Manos, The Hands of Fate is often held up as one of the worst horror movies, if not the worst horror movie of all time, maybe it's not too much of an extension to go one step further and just call it the worst movie of all time. Of all the decades, all the genres, all the budgets, it all comes down to their weird little piece of 1960s horror, barely longer than an hour, yet it's been something with staying power. Some good movies in the 1960s, in all likelihood, have been entirely forgotten. Manos, The Hands of Fate lives on. narratively, there's a family and they get lost, and then there are dangerous people they run into, and it's like a cult or something, and then some sort of bad things happen, and on and so forth until the movie just sort of ends. Started to be anticlimactic. There isn't as much that's exciting, alarming, or incendiary to say about Manos: The Hands of Fate. It's bad. Don't watch it, or do. You're an adult, probably, and reflect a little. Maybe it makes sense for a ranking celebrating bad movies to end poorly. It's just fitting in with the times. Thematically appropriate, did someone say? Yes, that too. Thank you. Very kind of you to recognize. True way to let goes unnoticed so regrettably often in these fractured times. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that description.
Oh no.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's what Collider says are like the worst movies of all time, which there's definitely ones on here I agree with, but then there's also just as many I don't agree with on here. But I think if nothing else, this kind of demonstrates how, you know, different people had different opinions on what's really the worst movie of all time. Like, I don't know, would you say this list is fairly spot on, Brady, or would you say that you disagree more than agree with it?
I would shuffle a lot of the entries around, but for the most part, I was kind of hoping there's going to be at least one, like, fuck you, this is a good movie entry. And no, I feel like all these are pretty fair.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's definitely ones on here that I disagree with being on the list simply just because, like, they're bad, but they're not that bad. Like, the big one for me is definitely Rise of Skywalker. Like, is it bad? Yes. Is it bad enough to be number 2 on a worst of list? No, not at all. Like, it's terrible.
I get what you mean.
I don't know. Like, I just always still find the concept of, like, people saying, like, oh, this is the worst movie ever so interesting, because it's like, you know, obviously different people have different tastes in movies, but it's just always kind of interesting to see what people consider to be the worst movie ever, when it's like, you know, there's plenty that are deservedly considered the worst, but then there are others where it's like, I mean, is it really that bad though, or is it just like your own personal bias, I guess?
Yeah, like, you know, like us as critics, we're pretty generous with a big bar of like 0 to 100 or whatever, and I'm just kind of generic 0 to 10. But I feel like I'm pretty generous when it comes to grading films. Like, I'm always like, well, actually. So a lot of the time I end up just giving it like a 6 star, because like there is some pretty hard to watch films, and I'm always very hesitant to ever say this film is a 0 out of 10. Some just abominable, like hard to watch, barely motion picture films.
Yeah, like for me, because and obviously it'd be easy to just like review a bunch of bad movies and just shit on them all day. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to do that, but I always try to look for the positives in any movie I watch. Like, sure, there's plenty of terrible movies out there, but even like the worst movies, like there's gotta be, you know, there's gotta be at least a little nugget of gold in the shit buried if you just look hard enough. Like, you know, like what I mentioned before with Plan 9 from Outer Space. Like, yeah, it's terrible, but I mean, there's like some genuinely good things about it. Like, it's got some good atmosphere. Like a lot of the cemetery scenes where, like, when you're not noticing the fake looking gravestones, there's like some really kind of eerie imagery in there with like the fog and like the trees and whatnot. Like, even the worst movies, if you look hard enough, have some good qualities in them, and that's kind of what I try to do with my reviews, is point out the good even in the bad. So
like, hey, with Plan 9, there's like ideas, and like you can clearly tell they're trying. Like, when a movie is like a 0 out of 10 to me, it means it has to be just like completely just unwatchable. Like something like Monster Go-Go, which is like cobbled together from nonsense, and then at the very end, despite looking for the damn monster the entire time, just voiceover, fuck you, there's no...
Yeah, or for me, like, I don't know if I call it the absolute worst, but the closest I would say would probably be like It's Pat, which is like so shockingly unfunny. Like, none of the jokes land. The main character is just so obnoxious and gross and unlikable. But the one good thing I will say about that movie is Charles Rocket actually makes that movie kind of entertaining, but not enough to like justify watching it. Like you're much better off just like, I don't know, watching clips that that feature him in it than sitting through just the few good scenes he has. But like, I don't know, it really does take a lot for a movie to be like an absolute 0 out of 100 or what have you.
Yeah, like I've seen stuff like in Super Beast from 1972, which is about people stumbling around the Filipino jungles looking for the plot, or a film like Assignment Terror, which is a fucking big European, Spanish, German, Italian film with the guy from The Day the Earth Stood Still, and it's fucking impossible to watch because it's pitch fucking black.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It's also known as Dracula versus Frankenstein from 1970. Like there's 3 different ones from the same time. Anyway, yeah, it's like it's a black and white movie, and half the time it's just a black screen. Or even Pigs from 1973, which is also just like impossible to watch. It's a fucking black screen the entire time.
Yeah, I know about Pigs. I actually have, going back to Blu-ray, I actually have a Blu-ray of that movie from Vinegar Syndrome, and they actually did a really good job restoring the film, and it actually is like fairly watchable. It's not as much of a black screen as I'm sure like the muddy DVD of it was. Anyway, so we've been going for, wow, like way longer than I thought we would, like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I didn't really think we'd go on for this long talking about bad movies, but hey, I mean, I guess time flies when you're having fun.
Hooray.
Anyway, so I think that's probably going to wrap things up for tonight's stream. Brady, if the people in chat want to check you out, where can they do so?
You can find me on my own channel, Brady W. Hickman. You can find me on Instagram at Caden Dawnstar. You can find me just kind of anywhere, really. I'm pretty public.
All right. And of course, I'm on the YouTube, obviously. I've got social media, Patreon, all that good shit. In terms of stuff I'm working on, I earlier put out a review for the 1962 classic Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Shout out to Sora Trash CNO. I did that as a little thank you gift. In terms of videos, I do want to try to get at least one more video before the end of the month. I'll try to I will try to get it out, but I also don't want to like rush it or anything. So but yeah, aside from that, I'll have more stuff coming down soon. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it'll be out soon. I can promise you that. But Brady, thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure.
No problems, man.
All right. Anyway, so that's going to do it for tonight's stream. So thank you guys as always for watching. Look forward to more reviews and more videos in the near future. And until then, let's see. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.